and are expecting hazard of quarter-size hail with that new tornado warning just issued.
Yeah, I can see that, Matt. I can definitely see that as well. The data here. Quarter-size hail wouldn't be the beast of a storm that one over northern Indiana is producing, which was baseball-sized hail. This is going to continue to move to the east, and it's moving pretty quickly. This isn't anything that you're going to be out to actually visibly see. That tornado warning, in effect, that will be allowed to expire for Camden. I'm going to go ahead and tell you that you're going to be in the all clear, but that new extension to the tornado warning, that's in effect until 7:30 p.m. That's going to include Jefferson if you're along. M99, I'm going to go ahead and meet you in your safe place because that is something that we believe will still be a threat and perhaps even a considerable threat going forward with the fact that we're seeing not only that rotation but indications that this is a tornado that could have been on the ground at one point or another. Difficult to tell because, just to be honest, it gets into some sparser radar coverage as it moves up across central parts of Hillsdale County. We're not able to see directly to a low level of the storm, but this is going to be moving through Jefferson and eventually entering over toward. This is going to be headed across Route 127 as well. So next up, this very well could be crossing from Hillsdale over into Lenawee County. That's going to get you up towards Devil's Lake. It's going to get you toward Onstead as well. So while you may not be in an active tornado warning, part of what we do as well is we warn you well in advance because we want to put you at ease that if you're next and your number is going to be called, we want you to know exactly what you're going to do. So if you are in Lenawee County, I want you to be prepared and have that plan ready to go if we do see an extension to that tornado warning. But this is this particular area. We're going to get, here's what's going to happen in the next 2 minutes. All right, stand with me here. So this tornado warning that you see from Cambria toward Clear Lake, this is going to expire. So this will disappear coming up once the clock hits 7 o'clock right on the dot. So that will be allowed to expire. What we're going to be dealing with after that is going to be this continued tornado warning that is in effect until 7:30, and we will continue our coverage because this is a storm that will continue to be producing or has the capabilities of producing not only the rotation but a possible tornado. And here in meteorologist Matt Willoughby has some additional information. Matt, what can you tell me?
Yeah, so we just got information that southernmost tornado warning out in Cambria, that one has just been expired. So that tornado warning has been expired, but the one just in front of it is still a active tornado warning as of right now. The train spot
75 degrees. It's not exactly your typical summer storm that may bubble up with the relative heat of the day. I suppose in some capacity it is, but there's so much of that wind shear, this twisting and turning, roiling around in the atmosphere. You figure it's like paddling a canoe. You get those little eddies that spin up because you change the speed out ahead of it. That's kind of what's happening the farther up you go in the atmosphere, and that's something that we're seeing right now.
All right, let's take a look. A lot of folks asking about Toledo or elsewhere in the viewing area with these severe storms occurring in Hillsdale County. So let's look at Predictor at 7 o'clock. So it's doing a decent job. Let me adjust the...
a little bit too far ahead.
Let me adjust just the timing on this just a little bit. Probably more like that.
That's pretty accurate.
That's pretty accurate. Okay, so let's go from here. This is the 7 o'clock projection with Predictor by the hour. Okay, and we'll take you into the future for folks asking, what about my area? If I don't live in Hillsdale County right now, I live in Toledo or Findlay or Fremont or Monroe, what's going to happen as we go through the evening? So here's our latest Predictor by the hour. The clock is in the upper left-hand corner. So here we go into time. That'd be 8 o'clock as the storms start to fire up. I think this is picking up on those cells in Hillsdale County, continuing through Lenawee, Monroe counties, perhaps clipping parts of Lucas County. This area is what's developing near Fort Wayne right now. It is producing a severe thunderstorm warning west of us. And who's to say if it will rotate or not? That would upgrade it to a tornado warning, or if anything falls, drops out of it in the way of a funnel. But right now, that is a strong area of weather. Here's the map as we get closer to 8, 9 o'clock. So we've backed up by about 30 minutes for Toledo. For probably between 7 and 8:30. So 7:30, 8:30 p.m. Monroe, Bowling Green down just west of Findlay. Here's the map at 10 p.m. as it moves off to the east. Late news. We should see things clear out. So the majority of storms as they weaken and move eastward will be out of here. This map shows the projection for 11 p.m. as the atmosphere starts to calm down. Of course, sunset takes some of the energy away, but we're okay. If you can make it through the late news tonight with us and just stay calm and stay informed and stay weather aware, we're looking much, much better again by 11 o'clock as that whole mass of storms we see to our west will have passed and moved on through to our east. So current situation, we'll go back to the, that's the future, that's 11 p.m. Here's the current scenario is the weather is flaring up from the west. You've got from Adrian to Hillsdale some strong storms, and there's the current warning. Let me take the radar off for you, and you can see where that warning is. This is through 7:30 p.m. It includes much of Hillsdale County, just near and south of Hillsdale, includes Cambria, Jefferson, Ransom, west of Hudson, and then that's up to about the county line. So just south of Somerset, just west of Manitou Beach and Devil's Lake. You're under the watch, which means conditions are favorable. But there's the warning as that storm's moving to the east-northeast at 40 miles per hour. Pop the radar back on, and let's put a track on this. Still, the most concerning part is actually it's near and just south of Hillsdale, Michigan. So even though Hillsdale, you're not in that warning, I would take cover if I lived anywhere in or around Hillsdale, Michigan at this time. Let me track it for you. Go ahead.
I was just saying, looking at some of our behind-the-scenes chats here, LWS office in Cleveland, talking about additional expansions of that tornado watch, not out of the question later this evening, but again, they're just kind of monitoring the eastward movement of these storms, and they're collaborating with the Storm Prediction Center as needed, as necessary. But Erie and Huron County is not under a tornado watch right now. It is gradually expected to lose steam as we go through the hours ahead, but it is still chugging along at quite a pace here as we continue to focus on that storm, especially in Hillsdale County, that confirmed tornado, at least within that tornado warning short time ago.
Okay, we're tracking things like that. Some of the cities up here for you folks in Hillsdale County that are concerned or in the path of the storm. So near Hillsdale in about a minute, that's why we're still looking at this lobe of the storm, just north of Cambria. So you folks that live anywhere near Hillsdale, you should be in your safe spot at this time in case that storm producing some kind of a funnel or a tornado. Pittsburgh at 7:14, you got Locust Village at 7:21, Rollin at 7:32, you got Woodstock at 7:42, Olmsted 7:50. I think that's as we get out of the officially warned area right now, and then Cambridge at 7:53. The wind developed near Angola, moved off to the east-northeast, now tracking more in an easterly direction, but still some northerly kind of drift to that. So these areas, take cover now and prepare for a strong or severe storm. Aaron.
Maybe even western Lenawee County should start taking those actions now, just in case, because we haven't really seen signs of this guy weakening at this point in time. So, of course, we want everyone to stay weather aware, but if you are within this path, even outside of the tornado warned area, now is a great time.
Notice the area of red and blue squiggles right on the southern side.
Of this, because next up, this may be headed toward Lenawee County. So if you're from Cambria, right along M99, let's throw some times of arrival out there. This is going to be toward Hudson, Michigan, right around 7:14, and that takes it right up to about the edge of the Hillsdale-Lenawee County line. So once it crosses there, we could be in the Lenawee County territory, which would include several other locations in Lenawee County, even up toward Onstead, over toward Devil's Lake area, where we're getting some rain that is reported right now. Some of this rotation that we're seeing right now does not include Hillsdale itself. All right, so we're on Hillsdale County, but it is right now right along M99. And I would suspect that if you actually took where the highest rotation is, just north of Ransom, we've got Bird Lake right here that is a couple miles north of Ransom. So if that's a familiar area to you, right in between Ransom and Jefferson, that is just east of M99. Right here, we've got Bird Lake. That is where I suspect the rotation may very well be. It is crossing now. It is east of M99, and it is going to continue to work toward M34. So we've got M34 here that heads inbound toward Jefferson, M99. The rotation would appear to be this area just east of M99. That is right around Bird Lake. It's difficult to get a radar scan down closer to ground level, and as we all know, the terrain up toward Hillsdale County gets a little bit hillier, a little bit more robust as well. So it's possible that we're missing the lowest scan, so to speak, on what's actually occurring on the ground level. I can tell you this, that we've got our full team coverage here. We've got meteorologist Matt Willoughby, meteorologist John Birchfield, and we've also got meteorologist Kaylee Bowers here standing by. And Kaylee, if I ask you to kind of paint a bigger picture on what's going on right now, kind of set the stage, because we've got the atmosphere. It was primed and juiced and ready. Where are some other areas of concern that you're watching?
Yeah, Chris, that's exactly right. We are tracking that single tornado warning in southeastern Michigan right now. This is the entire system we're we're watching. Like John mentioned, these storms really starting to fire up and moving into our area right now. But we are seeing a few thunderstorm warnings in parts of Indiana. We're also watching this tornado warning right now in Hillsdale County. If you're in Ohio right now, you're fine for now, but like we were talking about, eventually it could be moving into like Williams County, over towards Wasion, Defiance County, and this is just the beginning. As these strong storms will continue to fire up and bring large hail, like we've been talking about, strong winds, and that chance for a tornado as well. But let's go back and look at this tornado warning in Hillsdale County and show you exactly what we're looking at. This is in effect until 7:30 this evening. So we are tracking this tornado warning again in Hillsdale County until 7:30. And we're seeing the potential for hail 1 inch in diameter, if not even greater. So get your safe if you are in Hillsdale County, but also let's take a look at the track because, like we mentioned, it could be moving to Lenawee County within the next several minutes, if not even sooner. So looking at this track, again, it's moving around 30 miles an hour. So as far as the timing of this goes, if you're over towards the Hillsdale County area, you need to be in your safe space now. But like we have been watching, if you're over towards Hudson, 7:09, so in 2 minutes, this storm will be on top of you. Rollins, 7:13, Woodstock at 7:25. Now, even though this warning is set to expire at 7:30, the storms could be a little bit more on the stronger side. So Rome around 7:28, Cambridge at 7:37, Adrian at 7:42, and if you're over towards Franklin, 7:44. Again, this is for parts of southeastern Michigan. If you're in Ohio, we're not tracking these strong showers and thunderstorms yet, not tracking the active watches or warnings, I should say, active warnings. We are under a tornado watch. In fact, we're going to pull up that tornado watch, kind of reset here. We're not going anywhere. We have team coverage all across the area. Chief Meteorologist Chris Vickers, Meteorologist John Birchfield, and Meteorologist Matt Williams. So here's that tornado watch. This is in effect till 11 o'clock this evening, so we still have about 4 more hours with these strong storms moving through from Lucas County, Wood County, over towards Seneca County, Wyandotte County, pretty much everyone in our area under that tornado watch for this evening, again till 11 o'clock tonight. Team coverage, in fact, we're talking more strong storms. Let's check in with Matt and John. Matt, what are you seeing?
GoPro, stop recording.
So there's no new information regarding
GoPro, stop recording.
And of course, with that eastward movement, it is possible that those slide into our neighborhoods, and that may include Paulding and Defiance counties as well. I'm also becoming a little bit concerned regarding that large hail-producing supercell thunderstorm. You'll notice that severe thunderstorm warning did get expanded, and it is now just glancing the Ohio-Indiana state line right there, including the city of Angola. And if that does maintain its intensity, it could bring a 1-2 punch type situation to Hillsdale County. You'll notice it's going in a very similar path of motion to the other thunderstorm cell. We've gotten some reports of 1.75-inch diameter hails, and I do want to show you the latest hail tracks. We are still noticing some very, very large hail, and radar indications. Here's what we are seeing right now. Hail that is likely bigger than a golf ball, possibly even approaching baseball-sized hail, and if that does continue, it would likely extend into Hillsdale County and possibly even portions of Williams County as well. I mentioned that rotation into Allen County, Indiana. The National Weather Service did just warn that one, so the concern was warranted. There's now a tornado warning in the southeastern quadrant of the Fort Wayne metro, and we're keeping an eye on how that could potentially impact our area. Right now, it's just Hillsdale County, the only county in southern Michigan and northwest Ohio in our vicinity that is under an active tornado warning right now. And as Caitlin pointed out, that one continues until 7:30 p.m. It's 7:10 right now, and we'll continue to keep you updated as that threat evolves. And we're watching it possibly even cross into Lenawee County. Right now, Lenawee County, you're in that position where you're looking off to the west on radar. Perhaps you had evening plans that you were originally going to do. Now is the time to get indoors and prepare to make that emergency plan in case that warning is extended.
When you're 4 lane, I'm concerned
I
about.
want to keep you ahead of the storm. And for folks in Lenawee County, this is a storm where you're going to want to be on high alert. Also, if you're looking to the west, is some of those northern Indiana supercells. Perhaps you live in northwestern Williams County maybe Montpelier or Pioneer, those areas also want to be on high alert because there is a very large hailstorm that is just to the west of you. So you want to anticipate what if that storm does maintain its intensity. We'll want to keep you ahead of the storm. And then regarding that Fort Wayne tornado warning, that one could potentially impact Paulding and even Defiance County. Now it is moving fairly quickly. There's no active warnings for Defiance and Paulding, but we are keeping a very close eye on that one as well. And we're also looking for updated storm reports from the National Weather Service. Lots and lots of hail reports have been coming in. I'm going to see if these are actually coming into our system just yet, but we are getting towards golf ball size hail very recently out there toward Kendallville. So that was a report of golf ball size hail in addition to the report of baseball size hail that we had before. So John, great coverage on that right now. So to make a clear point about this here, so if you're here in this little metro east of I-75, I get it. We've got the sunshine actually peeking through the clouds. But what we do, we've got an active tornado warning and one that was confirmed to be on the ground. It's going to be our obligation. We are going to cover it through its duration. And I understand it could be an inconvenience to some of your regular programming, but this is a courtesy that we will do for you as well when storms arrive in your area. And a lot of people, they have unease about storms in general. We're here to let you know where the storms are and where we're going next and what the threats are. So the active tornado warning, let me get you the latest on this. This is now from about Pittsburgh. It is not including Hillsdale. Here is Hudson Road, maybe perhaps more familiar, and 30 that comes right into Hudson, Michigan. So here's Hudson, Michigan, right at the end of my fingertip. Now, if you're in Hudson, Michigan, you're right at the edge of that tornado warning. I suspect if we still have a circulation, it's somewhere right here between Pittsford and Hudson. So right along Hudson Road or M34, I need you to be in your safe place. You're going to be all clear in Jefferson. You're going to be all clear over toward Ransom. In fact, we've just seen that tornado warning, and now off the map. So it's been allowed to expire early. We're going to kind of do a wider perspective on this. That is good news. If we had any circulation that was in this area and it is somewhat diminished and weakening. But before we kind of say, all right, let's take a step back and see where we are at this point. We've got several storms that will at least have our attention. As John mentioned, this is a beast of a storm. That is producing, I'll be honest, gorilla-sized hail. It is enormous hail that is showing up in northern Indiana that could do some extensive damage. In addition to that 60-mile-per-hour wind that is now just west of the Indiana state line. This is going to continue to track. It's going to hit over toward Angola, Indiana again. It's going to continue its northeast track. Make it northern parts of Williams County up there toward Holiday City, Pioneer, Montpelier, back over towards the state line. Edgerton, you're likely in the clear. Eden, a very close call. And then it's a very noisy, very dangerous storm that is just west of you. No active or warning alert here in Williams County, but that is something that could very well be next as this tracks to the east. Now moving at 40 miles per hour, so it's picked up a little bit of forward speed. And I suspect we're not done with these storms yet. They may show some tendencies to begin to rotate over the next few moments as they can compete for more space in the atmosphere. But here's that storm. Now that continues to move to the northeast at about 40 miles per hour. And that's going to head over into, it will catch you in Williams County, and it may produce some extremely large hailstones. We've had reports of baseball-sized hail that's been reported with that storm. Now, no active tornado warnings up there in southern Michigan, so that is a bit of good news for the season. So we have a tornado watch that's in effect until 11 o'clock tonight.
GoPro, stop recording.
We're seeing with what has happened very recently.
Yeah, Chris, that's the hope, that we don't get many reports. Not the case that we're seeing right now. This viewer photo just sent in just a moment ago. This is the FedEx building over in Portage, Michigan. You can see right there. I mean, the building pretty much destroyed at the moment. We're seeing the roof blown off, the sides of the building blown off, the trucks completely mangled. Again, this was over on social media, and you guys have been very helpful sending in photos and videos. Keep sending them in safely. Your safety is more important than getting that picture or that photo. But again, thank you for everyone for sending those pictures and those videos. We're going to keep updating you both on air and online. But this is what we're seeing right now in Portage, Michigan. That was the FedEx building. But like Chris mentioned, we are not seeing any active warnings at the moment. well, I should say we are still using active warning, but things are slowly calming down, but we're also tracking that tornado watch as well. Chris, what's the latest on radar right now?
So Portage, Michigan, came in is just outside of Kalamazoo, Michigan. That was a storm earlier this evening that was under a considerable threat of a tornado risk, and at one point there was a tornado emergency that was issued for that particular area. And here's some of the video, really some incredible video that came in. This was just outside of Kalamazoo. Much like we've been saying, these storms have the tendency to begin to rotate. So some of the storm spotters that have been confirming where we've had tornadoes on the ground at this point this evening was able to confirm it. There it is. Look at that. This was earlier this evening. Perhaps initially a multi-vortex tornado that is consolidating. Look at that. That is some incredible video of what was a fairly strong tornado that did some significant damage. And again, that was just outside of Kalamazoo, Michigan. The reason why, folks, we are on air tonight as our area is under a tornado watch. Now, good news in that respect is the tornado warning just expired. It was supposed to go to about 7:30. That has been allowed to expire, but there's a couple storms that still have our concern. And we're going to stay with you a bit longer before we send you back to regularly scheduled programming. We've got two storms. I'm going to take you down here. Fort Wayne toward 469. This is an area that it has a fairly strong signature and an indication that there is rotation now within that. Lots of lightning, but also the shape of this on the southeastern side of Fort Wayne. We've got 469. I want to see what's right here. So, yep, that's my concern right there. So, we've got. So this is Route 1. This is Route 27. This is an area. Again, this is not our direct viewing area, but I will be honest with you. This appears to be very strong indications of rotation that is going to be headed on the southeast side of Fort Wayne. That is going to be moving eventually toward our area. So we'll watch this very close. As we've got strong circulation that is occurring. I don't really care for the shape of this as well because it would indicate that we've got a little bit of a hook on the back end of this. There could be hooking in and storm inflow coming into this storm. So let's ride the picture back out because I want to see how close we are for eventually this tracking. Right here's where I want to be over toward Antwerp as we head into the Ohio and Indiana border. We've got Paulding County pulled up right here. So you would be next up in Paulding County, anywhere from Antwerp along Route 24 south to Blue Creek, right along 127. Not an active tornado warning at this point right now, but if we would just extrapolate that forward, we'd be looking at about 7:43, that making its way into our direct area and potentially doing what we suspect could do with that particular cell, as we're seeing some strong rotation, could be the potential of a tornado or stronger tornado that would be on the ground at this point. Meteorologist Matt Willoughby, what can you say with the latest on what's going on from your view?
Yeah, so with this specific tornado warning, we're seeing those details that we have is, of course, at least at 7:08, as we done on capable of producing a tornado was located and is moving northeast at 30 miles per hour. So impacts include flying debris that likely would be dangerous, of course. So that's pretty much all the information we have as of
That's kind of why there is no warning on this,
in the Fort Wayne DNA. What they reported is a rotating wall cloud. So essentially, that is a precursor to a tornado. One of the things they noticed in that is that it was wrapped in rain. It was hard to visibly deduce because of the heavy rain that's occurring with this. So a train spotter did report that there is a lowering rotating wall cloud
area there, but there is no verifiable CC drop or anything else that he
based on the velocity scan that Chris just analyzed. We saw those two contrasting colors right next to each other, and that showed the rotational velocity or the spinning in the atmosphere. A rotating wall cloud is never a good sign. With how the atmosphere is primed for this, it is very likely that this storm could drop a tornado. It does appear the National Weather Service has continued that tornado warning. Radar indicated rotation as of now, so nothing has been confirmed, but there's some strong rotation on radar. And we're also keeping an eye on that other supercell thunderstorm that is now just right up against the Indiana-Ohio state line. And we're keeping an eye on the hail potential with that because that seems to be the biggest risk with this. If there's any bit of good news out of that, it's that the hail signature doesn't appear to be quite as potent as it was earlier. You notice some of those bright yellows and greens that we were noticing on Doppler radar. That was to the north of Auburn,
Indiana, that's indicative of hail that could be up to the size of a baseball. Now that's what it looked like about 20 to 30 minutes ago. Here's what the latest hail signature is showing. That still does depict some large hail on Doppler radar, but we can actually use the query tool to give you an idea of how large that hail is. Right now it does appear that it's less than 1 inch in diameter. However, the track on this storm could still impact Hillsdale County within the next 30 to 60 minutes. I'm going to actually get the data on how fast this one is moving, because that is important for folks in Hillsdale County who could potentially be impacted by this. So the National Weather Service says that this one could have the potential storm produce a very, very large hail, and it's moving to the northeast, so it would eventually be in the direction of Hillsdale County if it did maintain its intensity, and could potentially arrive into far southeastern Michigan. So I do want to put a storm track on that one to give you an idea of when that one could potentially end up in southern Michigan if it were to maintain its intensity and bring some large hail as well. So the strongest of the supercell thunderstorm and the hail could potentially arrive in portions of Hillsdale County between about 7:40 to 7:50. So within the next 20 to 30 minutes, that is when that one could arrive in Hillsdale County. As we look at the broader view, no active warnings in effect for northwest Ohio as of now, but some of those very potent thunderstorms are also knocking on our doorstep. For folks who live in Lenawee County, this is still a very strong and impactful thunderstorm. We're seeing some strong and gusty winds out of this moving into Lenawee County.
Even guys still watching the show, even though in the storm that we talked about,
but folks in Williams and Hillsdale County still need to be on high alert with that powerful thunderstorm nearing
no warning
Nola
on that
that
yet,
is
but it
pushing
does still
towards the
look like
Ohio, Indiana, Michigan tri-state area. It does appear that the biggest of the hail is located right along Route 20, pushing towards that tri-state. And folks up in Camden who saw that tornado warning earlier, this storm cell could potentially impact you regardless. Oftentimes during thunderstorm setups, we talk about how one round of storms or one round of rain can sort of meet or muddy the atmosphere for another one. But this is a very unique setup in the sense that there's so much turning, there's so much wind shear in the atmosphere that even though we saw those early afternoon thunderstorms, even though we saw severe thunderstorms roll through just a bit ago, the atmosphere is able to rebound very quickly in spite of the rain that occurred previous to that, simply due to the amount of shear and the amount of turn that was in the atmosphere. And to confirm that large hail that we're talking about, Matt and I were indicating the large hail potential, an emergency manager in Steuben County, Indiana, reported 3-inch diameter hail, 3 inches. That is actually confirmed. And I'm going to see if I can pop up the storm reports to see if it does appear in our system. But you can see these storms have a history of producing very large damaging hail, in addition to a likely tornado that was reported by emergency managers.
Glad I talked about this storm a long time ago as it was tracking through the same areas in Portage, Michigan.
If it maintains
This is a weather spotter, so this is a confirmed tornado. Probably in its weak state or just formed here in weather office in Grand Rapids. Very quick update this. So a TS tornado warning from Portage, Michigan. Looks like it's, if I had to guess exactly where the tornado is, it's going to be just south and east of the previous track of the tornado, the last tornado that went through here. So it looks like it's just south and east if it were on ground and moving through here. So again, Climax, Galesburg, get back in your safe spots. Battle Creek, Michigan, get back in your safe spots out of PBS tornado warning.
Doing the magnitude before as storms were rolling through parts of lower Michigan. In fact, just a bit ago, we had this video from Union City that came in. This was from Buzz Griffith. Indications of, that looks to be in a tornado that is in contact with the ground. This is from Union City across parts of southwestern Michigan. So these storms have not only been rotating, but have had confirmed tornadoes at this point. It appears to be several that have been across southern Michigan. All right, back over here to Doppler radar, just giving you an example of why we've been there. So you are not actually experiencing severe weather.
Scotts, Galesburg, you guys are also in this.
Just a short time ago, in fact, over the last several hours, we've really seen that come home.
I don't know how that tornado watch extended for everybody, except for Union County.
So again, we do have some offices that have different calls on this one. It is still expected to lose a little bit of steam
now I gotta tell you,
with losing the heat of the day, so to speak. But back in the storm prediction,
Potentially large damage and tornadoes on the ground now.
between the
Just east of Kalamazoo.
and the slight risk, so that's a
solid tornado.
right?
sometimes the radar might not tell the whole
Well,
story.
Henry Hillsdale's
So
under
we've
that
got
slight
two,
risk, the 205, the
assume
lesser of these two.
that
And
we've
then
got,
Chesco,
a
there's
big
somebody
tornado
out
down
there,
here,
several somebody's out
and
there.
get
Well,
underground
now we're not in the
in
bullseye, so we don't have to pay attention. The
Climax,
storms aren't
in
going to be as
Galesburg
bad here.
here, in
What do we always say?
Allen County.
You can't always say, you know, when we're on this side or that
refresh my
side
page here.
of the state line, let
It's gonna
alone
be in,
for some of these risk areas, you really want to pay
Kalamazoo
especially
County,
close
Michigan.
attention on this one.
I think
And
our
looks like
yeah, our
we're
warning-
extended
our
that one
I
up
can't
towards
talk
severe
today.
thunderstorm
Our
warning. I
warning
have three
is
other
a
vets over there
PDS
saying,
severe
okay, Dave, you gotta talk about
Also,
this. So yeah, absolutely. Derek,
County, Hillsdale
let you
County,
take this one.
Williams
Yeah, so that
County,
severe
Oakland,
thunderstorm warning,
Michigan,
Dan, was
Indiana,
extended. It's that
Ohio
storm
is
we
now
were tracking
under
in
a
Angola. We're
destructive
talking
severe
about the
thunderstorm
massive
warning
hail.
as
That
the
seems to be the primary
apple-sized
reason that
hailmaker
they've
continues to move
extended
off
that
to the
severe
northeast.
thunderstorm warning. Includes the northwest corner of Williams County and a good chunk of Hillsdale County as well. And this severe thunderstorm warning goes through 7:20
So
p.m.
yeah, unfortunately,
storm
we've got
northeast
another
at
tornado
45 miles per
situation
hour.
right
Of
here
course,
in
we
the
talked about
Center,
that ping
Cooksville,
pong
and
golf ball size
Climax.
hail being reported. Or excuse me, goes till 8:15. Correction
The
on that
police
time.
department
Goes
says
till
it's going towards
8:15.
Pavilion
But ping pong
Estates.
ball size hail, golf ball size hail has been reported with this storm. And at times, as you heard them mentioning,
this must
hail
be
2 to 3 inches in
incredibly
diameter. So
visible,
hail is a big concern with this. Could be
tornado
at the
here.
baseball size,
A
is
new
what they're saying in
PDS
the
severe
warning.
thunderstorm
60 mile per hour
warning has
wind
been
gusts.
issued.
So please
Because
take
the
shelter from the storm
rotation
and
must
be
be
prepared for possibly
extremely
gigantic
compact.
hail.
Yeah, and that's the kind of hail that would be damaging to cars, vehicles, you're talking about houses and
But
rooftops.
yeah, we've got a
When
tornado
you get a
warning
chunk
once
of
again.
ice that large
out
coming
here
down from the
in
sky, so that's near and west of
Kalamazoo
Pioneer,
County, Michigan.
near and south of Hillsdale.
Take
so
shelter
for those,
now.
TPS
Hopefully this
students
won't
out
last
at
long.
camp,
It doesn't look
stay
nearly
in
as
contact
impressive
with
on radar
teachers,
as
make
the
sure
other
you're getting
storms.
updates and
So
maybe
hopefully
even,
that's a sign.
telling
Hopefully
that they're
that
not
won't
watching.
last as long.
Hey, there's
But we can't
the
really
weather guys
work
and
on
gals
hope.
here in
We've
Toledo
got to
saying,
understand that
you're
just
not
because
done yet.
it looks
This
a
is kind of
certain
a second
way
wave coming
on
through parts of
radar doesn't
Hillsdale
mean it's
County
not dangerous.
as
Okay,
that cell's
we've got
racing
take
to the
shelter all along
northeast.
I-95
and
four here
those
between Galesburg
rotating
and
cells to the
Climax.
east of it, but that
Maybe
could be a
even
hail
back
maker.
towards Battle
That's
Creek. You
leading
guys are just
Angola
put
into
under
the area.
another
And
severe
to
thunderstorm
reiterate,
warning.
why
This
is the whole
storm
map
will
yellow?
come towards you and
That's the
continues to
tornado
produce
watch.
a tornado.
And it goes until 11
By the time it
p.m.
gets to
tonight,
you,
so conditions favorable
you know, you guys
for the
will need
development
to
of
be
more
prepared for that,
severe weather.
unfortunately.
2, hail. You know, we're talking about, like we just heard about, 2 inches plus. So we're talking ping pong ball size, perhaps baseball
And,
size, the
go ahead.
maximum. We've got damage.
Brian,
We'll probably
again,
get
the
nothing
storm
out of
is
it.
still just barely in the warm front here near to Concha. Once again, I think this low couplet down here could be a tornado genesis for a brief moment. I believe both of these tornadoes are probably weak since we can't see them from the radar yet, but I bet that a warning down here for Concha and areas just south of crossing I-69 once again would be warranted with a velocity couplet like that. So if there is a warning there, that's why you'll watch out ahead of time in these areas. This should be a short-lived tornado as the storm passes into unfavorable conditions, just like the previous ones
almost
did.
along the lakeshore. Sometimes,
All right, thank you very much, Andy. We're watching the Concha area. We were just
South of Hillsdale proper, not quite in the clear just yet. In fact, anyone downwind of this is not in the clear. That does include Toledo, even though we do not have a cell, let's say, directly aimed at the Glass City right now. You best be on your toes here. Keep a sharp eye. Maybe stay up just a little bit longer. Before you go to bed tonight, charge those phones. Have at least 2 ways to get the severe weather info. We certainly count as one on air. Our 13 First Alerts weather app here, the free app for iPhone and Android, counts as another. You get those apps where customized alerts right to your phone. And certainly we get feedback on that, of course. And people go, you know what? I was out in the county. I was out doing yard work, what have you. I got that alert. I wasn't even looking up, and sure enough, you have some of this almost bearing right down on you. So it can save lives, quite frankly. Whether it's our app or another's, you at least want to have something at your disposal to warn you of such things. But if you do still have power, of course, we are always that option, keeping you and giving you that first alert.
We're watching very closely that tornado-warned storm just southeast of Fort Wayne, and this has a pretty nice notch to it as well that we just saw just a second ago. And on our behind-the-scenes radars, just different ones that we have in our repertoire, we're seeing some pretty significant radar returns with this still, and it's not really showing a whole lot of signs of weakening as it approaches the most southern west part of Paulding County. Wouldn't be surprised if this tornado warning expanded to include at least the south and western part of Paulding County. So you see what I'm talking about, those colors right there. If we could switch to mean velocity, you can see the red and the green, the little couplet starting to cross in to Paulding County as I'm speaking.
Bring in the savings this moving season with Collins. Save up to 25% now on moving and
County take cover now. Again, we are live on Facebook. You can bring us with you. We're live online, everywhere that you can get your weather information from us. We're watching this one pretty closely. It's not warned in our viewing area yet, but it is warned for areas just southeast of Fort Wayne. The next 15 minutes or so, we do anticipate this, regardless of whether or not that tornado warning has been expanded or is going to be expanded. We're still seeing a healthy hail signature with this one. Quite the light show with this, and downpours as well. Not to mention everything that's also traveling well north of the area. But that's the tornado warned storm just outside of our viewing area, could potentially be expanded in the next 20 to 30 minutes. Still seeing some healthy velocity rotation there, just coming in off of the radar returns. That's traveling now, taking more of an easterly component, about 30 miles per hour. So Paulding needs to be watching very, very closely.
Yeah, right now, Aaron, there's really two big storms that we're keeping a close eye on. The first one, of course, is the one just outside of Paulding County. That tornado warning just to the south and east of Fort Wayne. That rotation, then about 15-20 minutes tracking into Paulding County. So Antwerp, Paulding, if you live in one of those communities outside of it, if you don't have a tornado warning yet, I'd be prepared for the possibility of maybe getting near your safe space, preparing for the potential of a tornado. Just a lot of intense rotation we're still seeing on the radar behind the scenes. And another intense storm, this cell that just now tracked from near Angola, Indiana, and Hillsdale County, that is a severe thunderstorm warning, has a history of destructive hail, and reports of ping pong, golf ball sized hail. And that storm moving northeast at about 45 miles per hour, so it's going to be racing through Hillsdale County. There'll be some very large hail with that. Even ahead of it, we're watching that very potential rotation. May have weakened a little bit. I don't know, Jay, if you want to zoom in on that in the southwestern part of Lenawee County. That was near Pioneer, Ohio. Sort of tracked to the northwest corner of Fulton County, maybe just near Gorham there. We'll flip over in just a moment to try and show you where that potential area of rotation could be weakening a little bit, hopefully. But it may just now be north of the state line. But we'll go along it there. Again, this is not tornado warning. This is just an area of rotation. We're keeping a close eye on there. Near 127, north of the Turnpike, north of 66. To the south and west of Seneca there in Michigan. So right now we only have a severe thunderstorm warning for Hillsdale County. That's the only warning in the area, but everybody is still under a tornado watch right now with just so much shear, so much twisting in the atmosphere. Almost every single storm it seemed like we've seen to develop today, guys, in Indiana as it's tracked in, has at least had some degree of rotation within it.
It has, and the atmosphere was primed for that, a lot of shear. The question is, are we getting enough instability with that line that's developing south of us? So if you can look here, we're at the very northern edge of the instability area. So as Doppler radar, we've just put on the warnings. We've taken the warnings off, and maybe I can plot those before we step in front of the key wall. But you're looking here at the overall situation when it comes to watches and warnings. Look at the extent of everything going on south of us. So there's the big watch box, that large area where we see the yellow. And these are curving all the way into parts of southern Indiana, where it was a much warmer day, a more humid day. Temperatures were in the 80s. So what we're seeing is severe thunderstorm warnings here. You've got supercells not warned at this point, but you can see here a little cell, a cell there. And we're in the very northern fringe of the air. It becomes a little more stable as you move to the northern part of this overall watch. And this watch, by the way, goes officially until 11 o'clock. So it's not just us here in Northwest Ohio. It extends down to Columbus, Cincinnati, and covers most of the state of Indiana. So a very large area today of concern when it comes to severe weather. We're just part of that. Now there were two areas that really got hit hard earlier today. Southwest Michigan, we talked about that warning. Confirmed touchdown in parts of southwest Michigan. An emergency was issued for that one. We had a couple of warnings for Hillsdale County for a confirmed weather spotter tornado. And the only warning we have right now for rotation is down here south of Fort Wayne. So at that point, we're watching to see if that will be carried over across the state line or not. That goes until 8 p.m. for Allen County. So that's officially just near east of Fort Wayne. Here we go. Got a brand new one?
Yeah, and it's for Paulding County. So it has been expanded until 8:15. It's capable of producing a tornado. Again, this is all radar indicated. And this storm is moving
like a
east
Jude's
now at
barber
30
shop
miles
in
per
Portage.
hour. So those in Paulding need to be taking cover. It's exactly where we said that Polygon is likely to be, just the very south and western part of Paulding County. And that's moving in east, 30 miles per hour. Nothing is confirmed at this point in time, but radar indicating exactly what we've been seeing, and that is some pretty healthy rotation. Go ahead and zoom in to show.
We're hearing, reports about it. I haven't seen any videos or photos of it or anything.
Paulding County. So I know we have viewers that are out there in Paulding County. They watch, some of our WTO11 programming. Here it is from 127 and west. It does not include the city of Paulding itself, and it stays just south of Route 24. That does include Allen and Paulding County. That is, I believe, Allen County over in Indiana, not in Ohio. In Paulding County, that is 127 there. It clips it just outside of Blue Creek. But this is the area that I'm suspecting we're seeing that rotation. It's occurring right now. That is right over the state line. So it's occurring from Monroeville. It's in this area. We're seeing the rotation. So here's Route 30 that crosses the state line. So the state line is right here. So if you travel this, and Route 30 right here. That is 613, State Route 613. We've got the rotation here. That is winds that are going toward the radar sites and winds that are coming away from the radar sites. So we've got some clear rotation. I did suspect that they would extend this tornado warning, and it's going to be moving. Here's State Route 49. There's Payne, Ohio. Here's State Route 114, where Blue Creek is. Here is Laddie and 127. And just north of here, I mentioned it before, this is a very large area that has a lot of those wind farms out there in Paulding County. As this continues to move to the north and to the east, let's get that velocity. I think it's about 30 to 35, even up to 40 miles per hour. This is going to be headed into Paulding, perhaps within the hour by 7:59. That is going to be headed into Paulding. Do we have any reports? We've got Matt, John, Kaylee all here. Do we have any reports or any confirmation that we've seen a tornado on the ground with this particular cell at this point, boys?
Yeah, Chris, so I do have a couple updates. So there was a trained storm spotter in the Fort Wayne vicinity on the southeast side of town that reported rotation, but they specified that it was not touching the ground as of now. So right now, this is what we call a radar indicated tornado warning. The velocity scan is concerning. However, nothing has been confirmed. I also have an update coming in from Hillsdale County. There were some students, some Toledo Public School students from Elmhurst Elementary who were up at Camp Machindo. And some good news is they are safe from these thunderstorms and not impacted by the tornado warning earlier and now the severe thunderstorms. So very thankful that those Elmhurst Elementary students are safe there. If you have family or friends who know one of those students up at the camp, very grateful for that. But Hillsdale County still needs to be on high alert as this severe thunderstorm is moving on through. And then regarding that tornado warning that is now pushed into Paulding, Ohio, again, just a radar indication right now, but still noticing some concerning velocity signatures on that one. I do want to show you the latest on where that rotation is occurring. Right now, it does appear the rotation is right about on the state line, directly on top of the state line between Monroeville and Payne, and where you see those blue and those red colors meeting, that indicates where there's some spinning in the atmosphere, and that was corroborated by a storm spotter that did see some rotation within the clouds, but that storm spotter noted that it wasn't actually touching the ground, and that was at 7:34 p.m. on the southeast side of Fort Wayne. So not seeing anything that would justify a confirmed tornado as of now, but we're still keeping a very close eye on that one. And of course, the cell up in Hillsdale has a history of producing some very large, damaging hail. What's the latest on the hail signature? It does appear that the strongest of the cell and the biggest of the hail is now moving into Hillsdale County, and we're seeing that just to the north of Camden, right on top of M49, where that large hail is moving on through. And the trajectory of this cell still going to the northeast at approximately 45 miles per hour. So I'm going to put the storm cone on that one to give you an idea of when that one is going to arrive. Still continuing to keep an update on a number of storm cells that are developing off to the west of us. Additionally, I do have an update on the rainfall potential with these. So we do have a bulletin on the flooding potential with some of these supercell thunderstorms. You'll notice those bright red colors. Those indicate some very heavy torrential rain. So even if you get a thunderstorm thunderstorm or a downpour that is not severe, due to how saturated the ground is, there have been some indications that there will be flooding potential with these thunderstorms, and the possibility for a quick 1, 2, even up to 3 inches of rainfall with some of these thunderstorms. Certainly not good news for those folks that have already been inundated with rainfall. And just really one more weather concern to add on top of the list tonight is that flooding potential. We're also keeping a close eye on Paulding County and what's going on there, and very thankful, Chris, that those elementary students up in Hillsdale County are safe from the thunderstorms as well.
Hey, I absolutely been up to Mishindo myself before. It's a beautiful part of the state, and it is good to know that we are safe at this point up there from both the tornado warning that occurred earlier today, but also the larger hail. So we've got viewers that are across about 20 counties here in northwest Ohio and southern Michigan. So let's set the wider perspective on what we're looking at right now, because we've got our entire area essentially under a tornado watch at this point. A couple of storms that are an area of concern, and they're just on the fringe of our viewing area over toward Paulding County. So that is one storm that is now activated with a tornado warning. We've been highlighting that for the past 15 to 30 minutes. We've got another storm that had a destructive signature to it that went down to down a level to considerable due to the fact it was likely producing extremely large hail at the time. And there's also a few tornado warnings that are still up there toward I-69 and I-94 that is just north of Coldwater, Michigan. So there's a whole host of areas that we're keeping a close eye on. No active severe weather here in the Toledo Metro. You have no active severe weather right now in Bowling Green or Findlay, so we appreciate your patience on this. If storms were threatening your area, we would have the same obligation to make sure that we were keeping you safe as well. We've done so several times so far this season. Now, we do have a storm that is working through Hillsdale County that is still potentially producing some very large hail. That storm in itself is now just south of Hillsdale, so we've got one severe thunderstorm warning that is here in Hillsdale County. It is all clear in Camden. I expect you're going to escape the worst of it as well toward Ransom. If you're down the state line over toward Pioneer, you're just fine. This is going to be moving toward Pittsford. It's going to be crossing M34, which takes you right out of Hudson over toward Hudson, Michigan, which is right about this area here. A good cluster of lightning. This is still a considerable threat for very large hail. And another storm that we're watching, this is just south and west of Defiance. So here we are in Defiance. There's Route 24 coming out of Defiance. So that is Defiance County right there. Ayersville will be there. There's Continental in Putnam County. There's Paulding just south of 24 on 127. And here's a tornado warning with a pretty defined hook signature that is showing up, that is crossing now out of Indiana and into Paulding County, where there is an active tornado warning. Now, widen the perspective out. If you see your county here and you're in yellow, you're a county that's under the tornado watch until 11 o'clock tonight. So when these storms continue to make their way across the area, because we're not done yet, they're arriving to the west and they're going to continue their trek to the east. So we are not all clear here in the Toledo Metro and down through Bowling Green and Findlay, and may still be seeing some of the storms that will develop east of I-75 as we go after dark tonight. So keep in mind, we may be here for the long haul tonight until we give you the all clear with these particular storms. But this is the concern that we do have. That's a pretty clear hook that's showing up. I've got a velocity signature, a brand new scan that just came in as well, showing that we've got a little notch, or at least a noteworthy notch that is just south and west of Payne, that is still outside of Paulding, which is right there in Paulding County. And if we could see a velocity signature, do we have any velocity signature? Last I checked, we're still indicating we've got some rotation, and there it is. There's your rotation. Here's Route 30. We've got areas of winds that are going toward the radar, and areas that are coming away, perhaps even some rear flank downdraft, which is gusty winds coming out of the southern edge of this storm. As it moves to the north and to the east, it continues its trek to the north and to the east. It's going to be headed toward Paulding. We've pinned that pretty close to the 8 o'clock hour, and if it would continue, it would be headed in toward Defiance County shortly after 8:15 and somewhere around 8:21. If this was to continue in that northeasterly direction, again, that's going to put you right out in that area. We're going to continue to monitor that. This has been a longer-lived supercell that has continued to sort of cycle through back and forth, which has shown indication that that rotation may be somewhat short-lived as we go through maybe the next perhaps hour or so with this storm. So again, tornado warning down there in Paulding County. Large hail still a concern up toward Hillsdale County, and nearly every county in northwest Ohio under an active tornado watch at this point, which means conditions still may be favorable for storms that would rotate as we go through the evening. Meteorologist Matt will be here as well. We've got meteorologist Kaylee Bowers, which is also monitoring some storm reports and damage. Matt, what can you tell me about this storm, the latest motion on this, and where this is going to be headed?
On this storm is around 30 miles per hour, so it's moving right around 30 miles per hour currently right now. So still seeing that at least move pretty decently out there. So still seeing also got some reports in Bosch County in Indiana, reports of a roof off of a house and some trees down as well. So just about 8 size hail with this system. So we're still seeing at least that happen for us, or that tornado warning still active as of right now. So that's pretty much approaching Paulding area, not necessarily Paulding, not necessarily within of this tornado warning, but still Payne all the way up into Defiance. This system, even if they don't continue that tornado warning, it's still heading towards you. It's still a dangerous system that we are seeing. Of course, we also have meteorologist Kaylee Bowers showing us some damage from Portage, Michigan, right, Kaylee?
Yeah, Matt, that's exactly right. Looking at a couple photos that we have sent in from you guys have been amazing. Keep sending in your viewer photos and videos safely. Again, like Matt said, these are out of Portage, Michigan, so technically not our viewing area, but these storms have brought devastating storms over there, moving into our area right now. So first thing I want you to see, we have down trees, we have down power lines. Looks like there's an accident right there. Crews are doing best that they can to clear the roads, make sure everyone is staying safe as well. And we're also talking about several other photos. We can go ahead and advance the next graphic over on the Max too, John. That'd be appreciated. Look at this. Also important, these are all important here, by the way. The roof is torn off for a good portion of the building right there. Not
outside real quick.
It looks like it's not quite sure, but
Let's see what's going on.
off the roof.
Not much.
A good portion of the roof is gone. Let's go ahead and fast forward to the next viewer.
Still kind of
We have
skeptical if
one
we'll actually
more.
get anything, but
I don't have words for this. I hope everyone got to their safe space. Not sure exactly where this is again in Portage, but the roof is gone. The side of the building is gone as well. We're going to keep you guys updated both on air and online as far as what's going on with this building that we're seeing. So keep sending in your photos and also your videos. We're monitoring them over also on Facebook as well. We're on Facebook Live, we're on YouTube Live also. We're on air as well as we're tracking some very strong storms moving into our area. In fact, let's check back in. Chief Meteorologist Chris Vickers. Chris, what are we seeing on radar right now? How many warnings are we seeing at the moment?
Well, and that's the good news, and I'll be very clear about what our intention is, at this point. If we want to widen this picture out in just a moment here, we've got one storm here that was really producing extremely large and dangerous hail in Hillsdale County. To put this in perspective, if you're just joining us, we're 10 minutes away from 8 o'clock. This storm in Hillsdale County was reported to be producing baseball-sized hail across northern Indiana and eventually golf ball-sized hail. It does look like it is weakened somewhat, so a lot of that hail may have been dropped out of that storm. So we were on air monitoring that, in addition to multiple tornado warnings. And then we've got a tornado warning down there in Paulding County. And I suspect if we can see that that is not going to pose a risk to our area, we'll feel much better about sending it back to a regularly scheduled programming. And of course, we'll be here to advise you if that would be changing. But we have two storms that were of concern. One of them producing a destructive tag on that. Let's take you up toward Hillsdale County. And a quick look at this, because I still suspect we've got a little bit of a hail core in this area that is now crossing M30 just east of Hillsdale. That is continuing. There it is. There's the hail core. I'm going to estimate that's probably about a quarter to ping pong ball sized hail at the very worst. So it's not that gigantic hail that was being reported earlier. There are some additional severe weather alerts that are just north of us, but that is not of our concern. But meteorologist Kaylee Bowers, she showed us what some of the damage has been doing. But this storm here still continues as it approaches Route 12. So this is going to be drifting to the north and to the east, and eventually may end up clipping Devil's Lake. So I want you to be prepared at Devil's Lake, about ready to get hit with a heavy storm. They could be producing some very large hail that's headed your way just north of Pittsford. Here we are in Hudson, Michigan. There's Hudson. Here's Addison right here. So it's also going to get you in Addison. So I want you to just be prepared. Just west of Addison, that is over toward North Adams, now south of Route 12. That is an area of very large hail that is reported just west of 127. So a storm that is producing some very large hail. Let's head back down now to Paulding County, where that active tornado warning is. And if we could also tap that tornado warning as well, we'd love to know what time that tornado warning is in effect, because what it's done, it's consolidated significantly. So it's to a very defined specific area. And if we deem that this is not a threat no longer for our area, that would be some good news. And we'd be very hopeful that we'd be able to do that. But that is in effect for Paulding County until 8:15. That tornado warning, as it continues to track to the east, it has stayed relatively south of Route 24, but it's getting ready to cross 127 south of Paulding as that continues to move to the east. East-northeast or so, right around 30 to 35 miles per hour. And our concern would be if it made its way over toward Defiance County and parts of Henry County. This is about the time that we'd be looking at that. It's after 8:15, including Defiance and over toward Holgate, which would be after 8:32 with this particular storm. Still an active situation where we're seeing that rotation, and that rotation that may continue as this storm is feeding on an unstable atmosphere and environment. We've got constant communication that's been going on. Meteorologist Matt Willoughby as well. He's alongside here. Matt, what's the latest on that storm up in Hillsdale County? I want to know, it appears the threat of hail seems to be diminishing with that storm.
That's at least diminished a little bit. So as we bring it back up to at least that storm into Hillsdale, still an active warning, but of course heading more into the at least the northeastern portion of Hillsdale County right now. So we'll take a closer look at where exactly this is heading towards. This is a little bit on the corner as well of Lenawee County. So we're talking Somerset. You're in that area where that warning is still right on the corner right there. And as we'll take a look at it, still that severe thunderstorm warning still tagged as considerable, and it is currently moving. Let's see what we're seeing right now. Currently moving right around 45 miles per hour northeast. So we're still seeing the hazard of 2-inch size hail and of course 60 mile per hour gusts. So hey, if you're in this area, make sure you're heading indoors. And one thing also, not only yourself, but bring those animals indoors as well as you go throughout the next several hours. So still seeing this as a very active severe thunderstorm warning right now. John, do you have any new information as of right now as well?
Yeah, so I have a couple of updated quantitative numbers to just really put some numbers to this thunderstorm up in Hillsdale County. We are getting some reports in the city of Hillsdale of pea-sized hail, so certainly greatly diminished from what it was at earlier. And in terms of the wind, folks are observing that this one's not overly gusty. There was a 23-mile-an-hour wind report in Hillsdale. There is some very heavy torrential rain occurring with this one, but there still could be some large hail if this one does pulse up. With these supercell thunderstorms, they operate in phases or cycles. In other words, the hail may briefly diminish, and then it could intensify again. So pea-sized hail right now, but I do want to give you a visual of the hail that this thunderstorm produced earlier in northern Indiana. I got this photo. There's a quarter there, and this gives you an idea. This hail is approximately 2 to 3 times the size of that quarter. I would go so far as to say that is close to baseball-sized hail, and that was in northern Indiana just about 30 to 60 minutes ago. So you do want to take this thunderstorm very seriously, although it is certainly good news that at least in Hillsdale County, we aren't getting any extremely large hail reports. Just that pea-sized hail report coming in out of the city of Hillsdale. I do want to show you the latest hail track, and that is some good news. It does appear that the hail is diminishing out of this one. Right now, the worst of the hail is actually to the north and northeast of Hillsdale. So could potentially see some hail that clips into Lenawee County, but overall the hail is diminishing. I want to loop this over the last hour to show you that hail track. You'll notice some of the brighter green colors that were occurring in northern Indiana. That's indicative of some very, very large hail. I'm going to slow it down a little bit to really show you the evolution of this supercell thunderstorm. Those yellows and those greens that you saw near Auburn, Indiana, that is representative of 2 to 3 inch diameter hail, and that green and that yellow, that corresponds to this photo that you're seeing on your screen right now. That hail that is close to the size of a baseball. As of now in Hillsdale, I'm not seeing any signs that there are hailstones of that magnitude, but we're still keeping a very close eye on it. We also have our eyes on perhaps some small hail as well.
Look at that, guys. Look at it. Wow!
Jeez.
This is incredible.
Be careful.
Look at this, guys.
guys. I'm looking at it on camera.
For hail that is up to 1.5 inch diameter. As I mentioned, sometimes they score sometimes or they undergo a string thing once again. So
Look at this, guys. Look at this tornado.
Concerning right now, this one could still pulse up and produce some very large damaging hail. These are the current active warnings as of 8 p.m. Keeping a very close eye on that tornado warning that is in Paulding County and on its potential impacts to our area. We're continuing to monitor storm reports as well. Off in northern Indiana, there was just another 3-inch hail report. This time from the National Weather Service coming in Kendallville. So I want to zoom in on some of these areas that are getting some exceedingly large hail reports. Up near Kendallville, Indiana, there was a report of 3-inch hail. I'm going to put the query tool on there. Yeah, 3 inches. Here's another one of 1.8-inch hail. This gives you an idea of just how widespread that was. Ashley, Indiana, where that 3-inch hail. This photo that I showed earlier, that is actually from Ashley, Indiana, and that is the same thunderstorm that made its way up to Hillsdale. Thankfully, it did weaken a little bit, and I'm not getting any large damaging reports out of Hillsdale, but we are still watching that tornado warning very closely. Chris.
So we've had some good news with that. That destructive severe thunderstorm warning for Hillsdale County, that has been allowed to expire. So right here at the top of the hour, coming up in 30 seconds, we're going to send you back to our regularly scheduled programming. But know this, we're going to keep an eye on watch.
So if we take a look at the big picture here, give you kind of an overview, a reset. The yellow areas, that is a tornado watch, and that goes until 11. Expectation is we should be in the clear by the late news tonight. And the only warning we have is the one down in Paulding. You see that red box? That is an active tornado warning till 8:30. And our plan right now is to hop off the air at 8:30 unless additional warnings are issued. Then the four of us will be behind the scenes watching things and perhaps doing some streaming and some Facebook Lives. But we'll get you back to ABC programming if nothing else changes at 8:30.
Well, guys, behind the scenes, we're watching some of the radar rotation within the cell over Paulding County, maybe intensifying a little bit. And right now, sort of the core of that rotation, just to the west of Melrose. So if you're in Melrose, be ready. That rotation bearing down on you right now. And actually, you can see that inflow notch, we call it. As we see the air coming in, that potential circulation. Jay is circling behind the scenes. So right there, just southeast of Paulding, be right along 613. As it continues moving east at 40 miles per hour. This is in the southeastern part of Paulding County. It's heading towards the southern part of, I believe, Henry County. This would be northwestern Putnam County. There is that area of rotation. We were talking a few minutes ago. We can't confirm this, but the potential we may have seen a little bit of debris lofted on radar. And with this intensifying area of rotation, this is a big concern. So if you're in this tornado warning, please seek shelter immediately. If you haven't already, please get in your safe space. And if you live downwind of this, you may not be in the tornado warning yet. I'd be prepared for the possibility as the storm continues tracking east. And Jay, if you can, zoom off to the south. I was just looking a couple minutes ago, south and west of Lima, there is a tornado warning that direction, right there near Jefferson. So this would be tracking to the northeast. And with that tornado warning, this could be tracking towards the southern part of Allen County, Ohio. Lima may just clip the southern part of it. We're going to be watching this very closely. I believe, guys, unfortunately, this was the same area back in March that was hit so hard down that direction. So this is another cell we're going to be watching. You can see a little bit of a northerly component as it's tracking towards our viewing area. This outside our viewing area, this tornado warning, but just another cell we're going to have to keep an eye on for the next hour or two.
We're watching an area of broad rotation up in the very northern part of Fulton County, just south there along the border between Michigan and Ohio. We have had a couple reports of people saying the clouds look really funky right now. And kind of looking at velocity, we are noticing a bit of broad rotation with this. There's nothing warned with this. They have tagged this as something that is on the stronger side. Has it reached severe thunderstorm warning threshold? No. But we are noticing what could be a little bit of rotation there in that area.
And I've seen that just south. If you're familiar with parts of Lenawee County, so we're south of Adrian, we are north of the state line, so we're northeast of Morenci, north of Lyons, northwest of Metamora, we're west of Blissfield, south of Adrian, so we're right kind of in this area here. And there's a little bit, perhaps a downdraft just west of Fairfield. If you see, let me zoom in on it. There's some lightning strikes there. Not a whole lot of velocity. There's Fairfield. So right in this area, Sand Creek, Weston, Ogden, just south of 223. That's an area we're watching develop. Right now, not warm. There's a watching effect for all of us, but so far nothing there in Lenawee County. But it's just south of Adrian. Adrian itself, the rain's east of you, that affects more southeastern Lenawee County and parts of Monroe County over the next little bit. So we're watching this complex as it moves off to the east and northeast.
Yeah, you go back down to that storm that's tornado warning Paulding County, Jay. There was a report that came in just a few minutes ago from right near where that rotation came through, right over that would be that highway that runs north-south through Palmer, 127, pretty close to there, south of town. 1-inch tree limbs broken, shingles broken off. So if not the tornado, perhaps strong winds. But that's the first damage report we've had from the storm. Nonetheless, the system, as it continues tracking east, still looking quite intense. Still some very strong rotation on radar, getting towards Oakwood now in the east parts of southeastern Paulding County. So within just the next couple of minutes, Melrose bearing down on you right about now. And I wouldn't be surprised the way this looks if they extend the tornado warning right now. It goes till 8:30 p.m.
And we were talking a little bit about how this hasn't had a whole lot of lightning. We were hoping that this was showing signs of weakening. We haven't seen that actually happen with the rotation. We have seen still a little couple strikes of lightning. Still very much want to treat this as if it were an active tornado. Again, that's going to be tracking east of Paulding County here very soon. Like Derek touched on, wouldn't be surprised if they extended this to include parts of maybe even Defiance County, very southwestern parts of Henry County, and the northern parts of Putnam County.
And even if you're just outside of this warning box, so to speak, if you're just down below this thing, take shelter now. I mean, get to the lowest centermost part of your house, away from those windows or outward-facing walls. This is a dangerous situation for anyone in Paulding County, or at least southeastern Paulding County right now, as this continues to trek generally eastward at about 30 miles an hour or so. It's been the general storm motion all through the evening so far. We talk about these right movers sometimes. So as the northeast component gradually shifts around, that's what you need to keep an especially close eye on. And right now, you do have quite a light show, especially along the Lenawee Monroe County line, but our focus does remain on that one tornado warning down in southeastern Paulding County. And again, none of us in the National Weather Team would be surprised if this gets extended a little bit into parts of northwestern Putnam County, into parts of southeastern Defiance County, and just based on the current clip, maybe even parts of southern Henry County as well.
We're continuing to see behind the scenes that possibility of debris being wafted on radar. Again, we can't confirm that, but it's just something we're watching for. This is that cell in Paulding County, that tornado warning cell. So just another reason that we're so concerned about that storm there. So if you aren't in the tornado warning, you're just due east of this thing is moving 40 miles per hour. So it'll be out of the county by 8:30 here, and some of that debris already being picked up getting towards the county line. So DuPont, Continental, southeastern Defiance County, getting towards New Bavaria, Miller City, some of these areas right along the county lines, Palmer there. I'd be prepared for the possibility of a tornado in your area. There's still strong rotation on the radar, and the tornado warning for Paulding County continues through 8:30.
So that's kind of bringing it well into several areas, several of our counties, I should say. So that's the very southern part of Defiance, very northern part of Putnam County, the very southwestern part of Henry County. And we have seen behind the scenes what could be debris signatures being lofted way up into the air just with this. Could be a tornado. Nothing's confirmed, but we have seen some sort of damage being reported from this, whether that be damaging winds, just straight line winds, or what could be tornadoes. But we haven't seen anything confirmed there on the ground. Let's go ahead and take a look there at that warning, excuse me, just real quick. So, and that's until 8:30 for just Paulding County, but we wouldn't be surprised if that were to be extended to include parts, other parts eastward, a little bit closer to Defiance, Napoleon, and Ottawa.
All right, so let's reset to where we are now. You've got four of us here. Aaron Ashley, Derek Witt, Dan Smith, and myself, all just monitoring the storms for you. Now we're interrupting programming at least for about 15 more minutes. But the reason here is we have people down to our southwest that are impacted by an active tornado warning
new tornado
And this
warning.
got extended off to the east. When does this one expire?
So this one now includes exactly where we said it was going to include. So it's Defiance, Henry, Paulding, and Putnam County, kind of a little quad area right there. And that's going to be until 8:45.
8:45, okay, so what we just had.
And this, and Jay, sorry to interrupt, this is an emergency management confirmed tornado. So we have a confirmed tornado on the ground. This is, it says located 12 miles south of Defiance. It's now moving east at 55 miles per hour, so it is really picking up speed.
Right, it went from 30 to 40, now to 55, so the storm is strengthening, and the cell, so the touchdown, we have an EMA confirmed tornado on the ground, eastern Paulding County. That warning now until 8:45, extreme southeast corner of Defiance County. Does not include Defiance itself, but we have it through Hamler, so southern Henry County, also northern parts of Putnam County, just north of Ottawa. That's the warning, the path of the storm until 8:45 p.m. So this is a very dangerous situation. That's why we've stayed on the air, and yes, now we're going to stay on the air until at least 8:45 for those folks down here. So this is I-75, of course. You got Bowling Green, North Baltimore, Finley. This is the only warning we have in town and in the viewing area. The yellow areas around it are the watch areas, which indicate the conditions are favorable for the development of thunderstorms. So what we're seeing here is the red next to the green, and that's the most likely area for this cell. So it's right in this area, northeastern corner of Paulding County, moving to the east at 55 miles per hour. So it kind of gives you the overall look at things. A couple clusters down to the south. This was the map at about 6:20. So this is as things were developing. Storms have flared out, still more to the north, but right now the active warning we have moving to the east extends here to southern Henry County, parts of Putnam County, just a sliver. You see how small that sliver is for Defiance County, and then the rest of northeastern and eastern Paulding County. That's until 8:45. If you live in this area where you see red, we advise you take cover immediately. Get away from windows and walls, and get to a nice safe spot.
We have some spotter information coming in. West of Melrose, there was a funnel cloud spotted with debris visible. That's coming in from a radio operator. So that's someone who has been trained on spotting information, spotting different kinds of weather information. And that's coming in just there in Melrose. So again, that's going to be in the very eastern part of Paulding County now. Again, this is confirmed there by EMA, a tornado on the ground.
All right, let's try to get our velocity product here to give you an idea of what we're looking at when it comes to that rotation area. So let me put a track on it first, then we'll get you the velocity data. But you folks, anywhere here from east of Paulding, south of Holgate, south of Defiance, north of Cloverdale, northwest of Ottawa, you should be finding your safe spot at this time.
And so there's the report of a tornado with visible soil lofted. That's going to be along Highway 613, if we can find that. It's west of Oakwood. If you are familiar with the area, west of Oakwood, there along
area, very familiar with this area. This is the northwest corner of Putnam County that we've got this tornado warning. This is going to be along State Route 15 and in the city of Continental. I need you to be in your safe place at this point. We're looking at velocity signatures that would indicate that we've got rotation that is occurring.
But still, we've got
just getting ready to cross out of Paulding County and into Putnam County, and that rotation, if we stay just off to the west here, is in this specific area, getting ready to cross now into Putnam County and over toward Continental, just north of DuPont. Even though you're actually that active tornado warning in DuPont, I suspect that we're seeing the stronger rotation right on the northern outskirts of DuPont. Here again, Route 66. This is likely crossing Route 66. There's State Route 15. This is the specific area that we'd be concerned about that rotation. This is a tornado that has been observed in a tornado warning until 8:45. This includes the southern tip of Defiance County, and we're not talking much in Defiance County, really just the southern tip. Right here is Defiance County. So in the city of Defiance, you're right up here. You are not in this active tornado warning. This is just south and east of you along State Route 15 over toward Continental. Let's put some time of arrival on this. So let's widen the picture out a little bit so we can get a good view of this because we suspect that that circulation is right here crossing into Putnam County. This is going to continue to move east at about 35 miles per hour. So let's head where this is going, 35 miles per hour to the east-southeast. It is going to be headed toward Holgate and Hamler. So that's going to catch in the southern part of Henry County. That is going to be 8:38 to 8:43 arriving there. Over toward Deschler, that could be 8:51. And we'll worry more so about Weston over toward Wood County should that continue over the next hour. This tornado warning itself only goes until 8:45. It does include 3 of our counties in our viewing area: Defiance County, Putnam County, and southern parts of Henry County, where we're seeing the indications of rotation within this cell. Just west of Continental is where it is. This is south of Defiance. This is an observed tornado that has been detected not only by radar, where we've had some persistent rotation, but storm spotters that have confirmed this is in fact a tornado that has been observed. We've got coverage. We've got meteorologist Kaylee Bowers, which is continuing to gather some severe weather reports. Meteorologist Matt Willoughby and John Birchfield. What can you guys tell me about this particular cell at this point? We suspected we'd be back here covering an active tornado warning. It's really tapping into a rich environment that still has quite a bit of storm instability.
Yeah, Chris, and it's in Oakwood, Ohio, where the confirmed tornado was observed. It was an emergency ham radio operator that spotted this. In addition to the tornado, there was some dirt and debris that was getting lofted around, so that's indicative of this observed tornado that's on the ground. Again, that's in Oakwood, Ohio, and for those unfamiliar with the area, that's located just to the east of Melrose and west of Continental. So between Melrose and Continental is where the tornado was observed, and that indicates really where we're seeing that rotation on Doppler radar that is now pushing towards Putnam County. So again, the tornado was spotted in Paulding County and is now likely crossing over into Putnam County just to the west of Continental. Looking at State Route 613, that is a hot spot where we're seeing some strong rotation on Doppler radar as this rotation crosses into Putnam County. Again, it was just to the east of Melrose where there was that funnel cloud that dropped down, lofted some dirt and debris. Still unclear as to how strong the tornado was that the storm spotter observed, but it was on the ground and it was lofting debris, and that's something we're keeping a very close eye on as well. Now, Putnam County is situated in what we call a radar zone that is not optimal. So in terms of what we're seeing on velocity, the scans might not be the best, but when you have a confirmed tornado that was spotted, that is an incredible reason for concern. So folks in Continental need to get indoors to that tornado shelter, that tornado safe spot, and in other areas of southern Defiance and even southern Henry County, you'll want to get to that interior room, preferably the basement, during that tornado warning. We're keeping an eye on this one. It does look like the Paulding County part is being expired, so now our focus is just going to be on Putnam County, Defiance, and Henry County, and we'll see that polygon get adjusted on air as it occurs. Broadening out the view, we still do have thunderstorms that are occurring to the north of that one in southern Michigan. Lenawee and Monroe County, we're also seeing those thunderstorms as well for folks who may be tuning in from there. So right now, the strongest of the rotation is right on the county line there, located between Melrose and Continental along State Route 613, that blue color. That is indicative of where there is rotation occurring. And I'm going to put on the shear tracks or the rotation tracks to look at where this storm cell has been over the last 30 to 60 minutes. And this is very characteristic of what we call a supercell thunderstorm. You'll notice this one has been rotating all the way since it was in northern Indiana, and it has maintained that trajectory, moving to the east, northeast, and it sort of pulses up for a bit, and then intensifies, and then briefly diminishes, but we are still seeing some strong wind shear or rotation, and right to the east of Melrose, I'm going to put down the storm report there. That is where it was confirmed, just along the county line, and now that rotation is moving towards Continental. Now, we don't have any new reports, at least coming in from our vicinity, but folks in Putnam County, now is your last chance to get indoors to the safe tornado shelter, as that rotation is knocking on your doorstep, just to the north of DuPont and to the east of Melrose. That is where the strongest rotation is occurring. For folks in the Toledo Metro, you may be seeing some ominous gray clouds off in the distance. It's raining up in Lenawee County, raining in Monroe County and Fulton County, but so far the Toledo Metro has not seen the biggest impacts. However, this really goes to show how prime the atmosphere is, because we're keeping an eye also on what's going on to the south of Lima. Could that potentially clip the southern tier of our viewing area? There's still that supercell to the south of Lima that may impact us later, and we're also keeping an eye on what's going on across far northern Indiana as this cluster of thunderstorms moves on through. It looks like the tornado warning is being continued by the National Weather Service. Just got a new bulletin in. Emergency management confirmed tornado. And for those just tuning in, it's expected that this thunderstorm, the rotation is expected to reach Deschler at around 8:50 p.m. if it does maintain itself. Other folks who need to seek shelter include those in Hamler, Gallup, Miller City, Belmore, Pleasant Bend, and Wisterman, to give a few examples of some towns and cities. Chris?
Yeah, John, really very specific about what the threat is with this one, and I did just check that latest bulletin as well. The forward speed of this particular cell has actually sped up a little bit, about 50 to 55 miles per hour. So we're approaching now where it's getting towards dusk into the evening, so this is not going to be something that you're going to be able to see coming, and we do suspect with the confirmation that we have heard with what is a tornado that we are likely contending with down in Putnam County, a tornado warning that's in effect for Defiance, Henry, Paulding, and Putnam County. Although, I will tell you, Paulding County, you are in the clear right now. This is no longer something that is impacting Paulding County, although it was clear warning right across the county, a tornado warning. This is now in the northwest corner up there toward a Continental, and that is an observed tornado. Now, this is going to be moving to the east about 50 to 55 miles per hour, so while it's directly over Continental, in fact, moments ago, it's already done that. Out to the east, it's going to be on top of Hamler very quickly, as you're probably hearing some of the distant rumbles of thunder and some of the indications that we're seeing some heavy rain and lightning that's going to be approaching. So here's the area that we're watching very close. It is directly over Continental. I do have concern with this. If we've got a confirmed tornado on the ground, the circulation is directly over Continental. So at this point, if you're not in your safe place, you are behind on where you need to be. Want you in your safe place right now. If you're in Continental, next up it's going to be Miller City, because this is going to be coming east, right down State Route 613, crossing State Route 108. Now, while Holgate is not in this tornado warning, you're still going to get some really intense rain, perhaps some hail that's going to be associated with that. But the circulation right now may have just drifted a little bit north on us. Just north of Continental, right along State Route 15. This would be the area that we suspect that we've got the circulation that is occurring. This is just north of DuPont. I still want you in your safe place if you're down there in DuPont, anywhere across northern parts of Putnam County, specifically right along 613 from Continental over toward Miller City. This is State Route 108 that is running right through Miller City. It's just a few miles now west of 108. Just now moving east of State Route 15. So this is an area where, again, in Putnam County down here toward Continental, we are seeing that active circulation. Now, if we could take a wider perspective on this, I just want to kind of set the stage as we approach 8:30 here. You may be wondering why we are covering active tornado warnings here in Northwest Ohio. Well, here's the simple answer. Just about every county is under a tornado watch here in Northwest Ohio. We've had some strong storms up in Hillsdale County. A few of them that just clipped over toward Williams County. There's no active severe alerts, but one in particular that does have an active tornado warning that is in Putnam County, north and west of Ottawa. So this is the larger picture. Folks are just joining us right now in trying to determine why we're covering storms. Yes, we have some storms up there in Lenawee and Monroe County. Those are non-severe at this point, but one storm in particular is prompted a tornado warning, and for just causes is because this particular storm, we call this a supercell thunderstorm. It initially perhaps was spawning tornadoes back in Fort Wayne, and has been on the ground, or circulation at least above the ground, across not only the outskirts of Fort Wayne, Paulding County, now into Putnam, and perhaps toward Henry County as well. So that's the wider picture, what we're seeing active across the area. All areas under a tornado watch as we continue to monitor what is going on across the area. Meteorologist John Burchfield as well alongside here. And John, what's the indication on the duration of this? Because the warning goes till 8:45, but let's be honest about this. I would suspect that what we're seeing with the circulation, that this is something that may continue for quite some time longer.
Yeah, Chris, earlier on I was showing the shear tracks, or in other words, how the spinning has changed over the last 30 to 60 minutes, and it's really maintained that rotational component. Right now, the strongest rotation we're seeing is just to the north of Continental there, near State Route 15, and I have a few landmarks that are nearby that rotation. Monroe Cemetery and Free Christian Church that is located right on State Route 15. If you live in the vicinity of there, this is an extremely dangerous tornado warning, because there was a confirmed tornado that occurred occurred in Paulding County, again near Free Christian Church, as this storm cell moves towards Wisterman, just to the north and northeast of Continental. Now, Chris pointed out just how long the duration of this supercell thunderstorm has been. I want to put on shear tracks, and this line of blue that you see tracing all the way back to the 469 corridor in Indiana, that is wind shear, or turning in the atmosphere, and that shows you how this supercell thunderstorm has been spinning, evolving over the last 30 to 60 minutes, and it really goes to show that this storm is showing no signs of letting up. And as Chris mentioned, even though this tornado warning goes until 8:45, it is quite possible that we're still going to be dealing with the impacts of this thunderstorm as it progresses well beyond 8:45 p.m. Right now, we talked a lot about Continental. What other towns and cities are in the line of fire with this one? Chris mentioned Hamler, Miller City, Belmore, Deschler, and we can actually give you a better estimate as to when this is expected to arrive in your neck of the woods. The National Weather Service has continued the tornado warning, and they did mention that Deschler around 8:50 p.m., so that's in 19 minutes. If this is producing a tornado, it would likely be in Deschler at around 8:50 p.m. So folks, even to the north and northeast of this, folks all the way as far as Henry County need to be on high alert with this supercell thunderstorm moving on through. We were looking at velocity earlier, and we'll have to switch over to the northern Indiana radar. There's some very, very strong winds between Continental and Miller City, right along and south of State Route 613. That peach, that yellow color, that indicates some very powerful winds flowing into this supercell. And then looking at the green on the other side of that, this is likely where we are noticing rotation that is occurring between Continental and Miller City. We're looking at trains. So we do have the train spotter that reported this initially. They have said that they're still following the storm, and it's still rotating about a mile to the north and northwest of Continental. Right where I pointed out on Doppler radar, there must be a train storm spotter who is following this one closely. So it is still rotating. It is not clear whether there's an active tornado on the ground, but this thunderstorm has produced an observed tornado, and that's actually being fed into our system. That storm report right there, a report of a tornado with visible soil being lofted. I mentioned earlier that there was debris that occurred, and that was near Oakwood, Ohio. Oakwood, Ohio in Paulding County, right before it crossed over there into Putnam County, and that train storm spotter is still keeping a very close eye on this one. Now, if you live in Putnam County, if you live in southern Henry County, you need to get to that indoor shelter immediately. This is something we will keep a close eye on Doppler radar, and that train storm spotter responsibly knows what they're doing, but we encourage you to get to that basement, get to that interior room. A bathtub and a closet are also good places to be during a tornado warning, and we're keeping an eye on the other thunderstorms to the south of Lima as well, and on those strong thunderstorms in southern Michigan, and on how this broader cluster could potentially impact other parts of the viewing area. But even some folks in Hancock County and Wood County, you're going to want to be watching this one closely as well.
Yeah, John, we can get really specific with that one because, at this point in our coverage, we're really nailing down the nuts and bolts of what's happening in Putnam County because this is the only county that has an active tornado warning, and this is now drifting just east of Continental, north and west of Miller City. And what you're going to see right here is some very interesting new technology that the WTOL weather team, and we're going to get to this here. How about this, guys? Just flashing up here, an extension to that tornado warning. So let's widen this picture out here. This does include this includes northern Hancock County and southern Wood County, so we're confident enough at this point we're going to say, hey, we are going to be in for the long haul on this. Just in a tornado warning until 9:15. That includes Hancock County and Wood County. So here we go, down in Findlay, all right? You are included in this tornado warning, but I'll be honest with you, this active tornado or potential tornado is about 25 to 30 miles west of you. Problem is here, it's moving at about 55 miles per hour, so it is racing now across Putnam County. So we want to view the advanced warning and early heads up. It's very likely at this point you're probably hearing some of those outdoor warning sirens. If you are in Henry County, if you are in Putnam County, now ringing in Wood County and over toward Hancock County as well. From about Findlay north, that's going to include Macomb, it's going to include Van Buren, North Baltimore, it's going to include Hoytville, it's going to include Deschler, Leipzig, and not going to include Holgate, although it is raining. Now that storm with circulation is likely in this area We have now seen that tornado warning that has been extended and now east, and that will include Hancock and Wood County until 9:15. Let's get a little closer. I want to highlight and isolate where this tornado likely is at this point, because we have that confirmed report of some dust and soil being lofted up over toward Paulding. This is right now, this is Miller, that is State Route 108. So I suspect that we've got our circulation right now, and it's really going to be tough to kind of ping this one with a radar beam. There's 108, so let's go ahead and let's go ahead and get that lightning off. All right, so here it is. It's likely along in Miller City. I need you in your safe place if you are in Miller City, because it is very likely that the circulation we had it pegged right here, just State Route 15 is continuing to race to the east at about 55 miles per hour. It is crossing State Route 108 right around Miller City. This is going to continue here, Route 109. That is going to be outside of Leipzig. This is going to continue to race from Miller City to Leipzig over toward Belmore up to Deschler. If you are in any of these communities, Deschler to Belmore to Leipzig, if you've got friends or family that are in any of these communities, I'm going to go ahead and tell you to pick up that phone right now, make that call and say that there is likely a storm producing or capable of producing a tornado that is going to be bearing on those communities. So here it is, 8:48, moving toward Leipzig. So we're going to go ahead and give you that 12-minute heads up if you are in Leipzig. The center of this storm, where we feel the circulation is moving to you in Leipzig. I need you in your safe place at this point. If that's going to be a closet or a basement or somewhere without windows, you can go ahead. You take that W211 weather app along with you. You can stream our coverage in your safe place. You could turn the volume on the TV up. You can hear our voice, and we'll let you know when you are in the clear. But if you see your name here, or your city's name, Deschler to Macomb, now Finley, that's going to be closer to about 9:12. So we are still about 35 to 40 minutes away. I mentioned Jerry City. Hoytville is going to be associated with that, even a little bit before for Hoytville. 9:16 is when that's going to be making its way into Hancock County. So what we have right now, an active tornado warning. Let's wind the picture out a little bit, because I want to show you who is actually in the clear. We mentioned earlier Defiance County, you are now in the clear, so I don't expect that that is going to be an issue for Defiance County. It's really just the southern sliver of it. And to be honest with you, if you're here in Henry County, southern Henry County, I'm going to tell you still to be in your safe place. But we firmly believe that the circulation is along and south of the Henry County line. It's right here on this southern flank. It's on this southern flank in Putnam County. So we understand what likely is going on now. Many of our communities are probably having the outdoor warning sirens. If you're hearing them, let us know. Probably across Henry County, Putnam County, now into Hancock County and southern Wood County. This area that we're likely seeing that circulation on Doppler radar, and you're going to see on Doppler radar it is an observed tornado that has been reported by storm spotters that are in the vicinity. Now, so what we're going to do is we're going to use some of the technology that you're going to see here with the WTOL11 weather team. This would be indications of a tornado debris signature. Are we seeing debris in the atmosphere? Matt Willoughby, if you could go ahead and hit the brand new one that's got the beautiful banner explanation about what we're actually looking at, because we get sometimes this stuff can look a little complex. Our job is to make it simple for you to understand. So if we were seeing debris in a tornado, we would be looking for these colors here. We'd be looking for those grays or deeper blues that would be located right where we expect that circulation to be. If we're seeing some of these greens and yellows and reds, that's rain or hail. So relatively speaking, we don't expect we're seeing any debris right now. But one caveat to this is we're scanning fairly high into the atmosphere with Doppler radar down here in Putnam County. So it is very possible that there could be a tornado producing some damage at this point that would be on the ground that isn't being detected by the debris signature. It is just a tool in our toolbox, something that we can go something that back on March 14th we caught a debris signature on some of the tornadoes that we are tracking across our area. It is something that we have the capability to do and will continue to do in certain situations. We do suspect Miller City right now is where we have that circulation that's likely occurring. next up, as I said, just moving east at about 55 miles per hour. It's going to be crossing State Route 109. If you're State Route 109, just west of Leipzig, all the way up in Henry County, I'm going to want you in your safe place in this area. Here's State Route 613. It looks like to me that circulation is coming right from Miller City along 613 and headed directly toward Leipzig. Now, we cannot confirm if this is an exact tornado on the ground at this time. We've had observations from storm spotters that they suspected that there's been a tornado at least skipping across the ground at some point. That was back over toward Paulding County. But from Miller City to Leipzig right now is where we've got the concern. So meteorologist Matt Willoughby and John Birchfield also kind of chime in on this one. With that new information, guys, coming in, we've got that extension of that tornado warning now includes multiple counties.
Yeah, it looks like it includes the city of Findlay as well as North Baltimore now. I want to put the query tool on that and also alert you about some new information that's just coming into the Weather Center. A trained spotter in the vicinity of Continental reported a funnel cloud that occurred with this one. Now, the original tornado report, that was near Oakwood, Ohio, so it evidently is still rotating strongly enough to warrant that extension. Again, Continental is where the funnel occurred. All right, I want to show you the bigger picture, the expansion of this warning. This one goes until 9:15, and that includes Hancock and Wood counties, and a number of our local cities are under the impacts of this tornado warning. I want to zoom in on some areas. For those who live in northern Hancock County, Findlay, Macomb, up into the area of Jerry City, North Baltimore, and Bloomdale. You need to be in that basement, that interior room away from doors and windows. We are still seeing rotation with this one. Continental, we got a report of a funnel cloud. We're also trying to get some information from the storm spotter that actually witnessed this initially in Oakwood, Ohio, that we saw that. We'll get that into the system in just a bit. But again, the worst of the rotation right now, heading towards Leipzig and eventually Denver in North Baltimore. I'm going to put the rotation tag on this one to show you where we've seen the rotation over the last 20 to 30 minutes or so. So folks in Miller City, rotation directly to your north. Those who live in Leipzig, last chance to get to that safe shelter indoors. Folks in Deschler, we want to keep you ahead of this storm. Make sure that you are taking advanced precautions and getting and heeding that tornado warning as well. And we're continuing to keep an eye on things. I am going to work on importing this photo of the Oakwood tornado that was reported, because that's where it originally occurred at, where that original storm spotter witnessed the tornado. And we're going to pull that into the system to show you exactly what prompted this tornado warning to be issued in the first place. Again, it was in Oakwood, Ohio, and Paulding County where that originally occurred, and subsequently we've seen some rotation that's occurred in Continental, including a report of a funnel cloud, which indicates that this supercell is still churning away and still going strong. It does still pose an imminent threat now for Hancock County as well, where we're seeing that. I think we can get the photo in here from Oakwood, Ohio. Yeah, there we go. That is a very, very clear funnel cloud. And this photo was taken at 8:25 in Oakwood, Ohio. And W.D. Miller, credit goes to W.D. Miller for capturing that one in Oakwood, Ohio. That is a funnel. That is the same funnel that was witnessed lofting some dirt and debris, likely in a farm field nearby. And again, W.D. Miller capturing that photo there. We've also gotten the report of a funnel in Continental. The National Weather Service has extended this one into Hancock County, and we're also seeing that one for Wood County until 9:15. Your current time is 8:43, so we're going to be on air with you every step of the way. This warning set to go for at least another 30 minutes, but this supercell really not showing signs of relenting. It is still posing an imminent threat, and we're still watching that shear or rotation that really has continued, and that shear tracks feature shows you just how long-living this one thunderstorm has been, and it likely continues to extend as we head towards it, towards some of our easternmost locations. Also, Matt has some tornado safety important tips to reiterate during a tornado warning in our Max 1 system. Avoid windows and get to that interior room as well.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, we always talk about this all the time, but it is very key to make sure you do that. Of course, if you're sitting in your living room watching and you're seeing this tornado warning head towards you, go ahead and get to that safe spot. Whether you have, if you do have a basement, go ahead and lock yourself into that basement and make sure you're secure. Also, get away from any windows. Of course, those bedrooms that are close to the windows, or at least on the outside, at least of the interior of the house. Make sure you are within the most interior part of your home. And also, if you have that first aid kit, grab those shoes, grab those flashlights, and make sure you are safe and ready to go if you do need to move with this tornado warning still active as of right now, Chris.
Yeah, absolutely. Those tips right there in front of our very eyes are just fantastic tips for what you need to know right now. Let's clear this off. Let's pop on here, and there we are. I want you to understand several things here. I've got reports of multiple communities. So you're hearing your outdoor warning sirens, even all the way up clear to Perrysburg. There's no direct threat in Perrysburg right now, or really northern Wood County for that matter, due to this storm. So let's take an extensive deep dive into where we have that threat right now. Active tornado warning. This is likely going to be extended here. The time was initially up to about 8:45. We're hitting that mark right now. Interesting to see what they do with that, because we believe that there's still, and we're going to treat it just like this, that there may be an active tornado on the ground, or at least rotation, because we've seen photos of funnels that have been descending from the cloud. And at this point, Kaylee Bowers is here, Matt Willoughby is here, John Birchfield is here. I'm going to have you guys investigate right here, because we still believe we've got the circulation here. We're going to have to check in with our weather service over in northern Indiana, what they plan to do with that, because new weather service office here out of Cleveland, they've issued that tornado warning. There we go. I figured they had a new one coming. That was perplexing for a moment, to say the least. There it is. We'll say it as we see it on the fly right now. We knew that this needed to be a tornado warning, sir. So for Henry and Putnam County, and again, this is an indication. So you're seeing the tornado warning pop up here. It is for an observed tornado that has been at least observed by some degree, a wall cloud or a descending funnel. I've seen it myself. We've shared it on our social media. Meteorologist Matt Willoughby, really quick, you're indicating you've got something about that.
Tornado that was located near Leipzig, or 9 miles north of Ottawa, moving east at 50 miles per hour.
All right, thank you, Matt. So let's get right down into this, because that's exactly where we suspected it was. So here is, this is Belmore, so this is Route 65. So here it is, State Route 109. Let me see Leipzig in here, because I want to be able to see Leipzig. So this is 613, so State Route 613. This turns into Main Street right when it comes into downtown Leipzig. So this is where we suspect, right at the junction of 109 and 613. This is about the vicinity, and give or take a little bit. It could be somewhere right in this area or around this location, but I do suspect it's right around 109. So if you've been joining us, Miller City, you are now in the clear. This potential tornado rotation is now east of you with that brand new tornado warning that's going to highlight it until 9:15. Again, moving to the east at 55 miles per hour. So heads up. Leipzig, I want you in your safe place. I'll be honest with you, you're probably already hearing the outdoor warning sirens. Maybe you're getting the updates on that WTO 11 weather app that have said a tornado warning has been issued for your area. I need you in your safe place anywhere across northern Putnam County from about 109, or at least in the vicinity of 109 and east. And that's going to include Leipzig. It's going to include State Route 65 that goes up toward Belmore, and this will continue to race to the east. 55 miles per hour is how quick that's moving. So where is this going next? I want a wider picture here, because I want to talk southern Wood County and northern Hancock County. So let's set the stage. Here's Route 6, Bowling Green. This threat is south of you. If you are hearing those sirens in Bowling Green, if you're hearing them north up into Perrysburg, Lucky, Pemberville, Haskins, Tintagony, there's no risk with this immediate storm for you in northern Wood County. So I'll be very clear about that. Where this risk is going, here it is. It's in Putnam County, southern Henry County. It's moving to the east. And Matt, we've got this 55 miles per hour, correct? I want to make sure we're getting those specific times out there. North Baltimore, 913. Portage may just be north of where that actual warning is, and then could continue to head on out. So let's clear this off as that races to the east. Let me highlight Wood County. So we're Deschler. We should have Weston right up in this area. That is State Route 281. Hoytville's down right in this location. So if you're Hoytville, if you're Deschler, even if you're out there toward Weston, or Custer rather, if you're in this area, I want you to seek shelter. So this is the area in Wood County where I have that concern. It does include North Baltimore. It does include Signet. So if you're familiar with that stretch of I-75, what takes you about 10 minutes to get from Signet Signette into northern Hancock County. This is an area of I-75 that is going to have that concern. So these are the locations, Signette, North Baltimore, Hoytville, that have concern in Wood County. So it's far southern Wood County. Let's head down now into Hancock County, because this is where we're next up. It's Macomb. Macomb is going to be in the path of that potential rotation, which is now occurring just over toward Leipzig, and eventually this is going to be headed toward Findlay. North, we've got Van Buren and Van Buren State Park right in this area, right off of 613, and this does include Jerry City and Bloomdale under that tornado warning. Now that's until 9:15. This is a quick moving storm. It's moving east at about 50 miles per hour. So what does this visually look like? As I said, we've got the whole team here. Meteorologist Kaylee Bowers is here as well, and Kaylee's got pictures of what has been occurring across parts of Putnam County. Kaylee, take it away.
Yeah, Chris, we've been seeing a lot of interesting viewer photos and videos sent in by you guys at home. First off, thank you, but also stay safe while you are taking these pictures and these videos. Got these 3 photos out of Putnam County right here. Look at this system right here. Watching that line right there. Again, this is north of Continental, and all these photos were sent in by Denny. Denny, thank you for sending in this one photo. This other photo that I do want to show you, also north of Continental, definitely seeing some of those clouds push on through. And another photo that has been very interesting that I really want to highlight once again. Watch that line, that funnel cloud start to come.
That just is another sign that we have favorable.
I'm not sure what's going on with this graphic right here, but we're going to update that graphic here in just a moment. We're not talking about the eclipse right now, but we are still tracking some more strong showers and thunderstorms, including multiple tornado warnings as well. You can see right there, there's that line coming down as well. Again, we do have live team coverage, and I'm going to keep updating you guys both on air and online with the viewer photos and videos that you guys are sending in, along on Facebook and also on our email as well. So we'll be back, but Chris, back over to you.
Yeah, so more on that tornado warning. It's great to see that evidence, Kaylee, because we need to see what is actively occurring right now. Those were from over in Putnam County, so this is the active situation. This is what has been detailed as an observed tornado, and we're going to highlight the data in a way that it is easy for you to understand. So it means it's been visually spotted at one time or another, includes Henry and Putnam County until 9:15. This will be Belmore to Deschler, so it is the southern part of Henry County, and again, it's from Route 109 east where we're seeing that rotation. This is State Route 65 that goes through Belmore, the north end of Leipzig. Now, I'll tell you, this is just so razor-thin, close call. I'm just telling you, if you are in Leipzig, I want you in your safe place, because to be honest with you, I suspect that rotation is right here between Leipzig and Belmore that is crossing Route 65. And we've done this before. We've been able to pinpoint really down to street level where we're seeing that active rotation and the possibility of that tornado, which really could, to be honest, if it's spinning up there in the clouds, we've seen what we call a large mesocyclone, which is rotation within the cloud. We've seen images, as Kaylee Bowers just showed us, of wall clouds that have been protruding from the bottom. That is a precursor to a tornado. And we've even seen funnel clouds. So it doesn't take much for that, really, at a moment's notice, to reach in contact with the ground. So we're down here in Henry County, Putnam County, Wood, and Hancock County. I do have to send a message out there, let everybody know. If you choose, we are streaming live as well with our radio partners down in Findlay, FIN and WKXA. That is another option that you could choose. You could crank the radio up and go ahead and seek shelter. So our partners down in Findlay, WFIN, WKXA, are carrying our coverage live. We promise to be as descriptive as possible and let you know where the active threat is and how long until you are all clear. But as it stands now, we've got an active tornado warning for southern Henry County, for northern Putnam County, southern Wood County, and northern Hancock County. And this does include Macomb in Hancock County. Here's State Route 235, Hoytville. I mentioned Hoytville just a bit ago. Back over toward Deschler, down toward Belmore. This is the area that we're most likely seeing the rotation, the southern flank of this, and it has been what is known as an observed tornado, or the potential of an observed tornado to exist at this point. Matt, John, back over to you.
Yeah, I've got some of the storm reports that this supercell has dropped in the MAX 2 system, and I've got not only the funnel cloud that occurred in Continental, but you can also see the confirmed tornado that a trained storm spotter reported. That was near Leipzig. That occurred to the north of Ottawa, and that is where the rotation was earlier. So this one clearly has a history of producing not only a funnel, but a tornado, and we saw where it all started. This is what prompted the warning initially. This was in Oakwood, Ohio, and you can see the funnel lowering. W.D. Miller captured that one. on, and it did spin up some debris and dirt in Oakwood, and subsequently after that did drop a tornado as well as a funnel cloud. And we are getting some reports coming in from the vicinity of Putnam County. Those of you who are familiar with State Route 613 and State Route 109, there is some very strong rotation that is occurring there, in addition to a possible funnel cloud that is occurring. So the rotation is now moving to the northeast of Lipsick, near Belmore. That is where we are seeing the most concerning components of this storm. Those in Belmore, right along State Route 65, need to be in that tornado safe shelter, as this has produced a tornado, and it does have a history of dropping a twister. And you'll see the rotation, the radar indications line up with what we are getting from storm spotters there, just to the south of Belmore, northeast of Lipsick. I'm going to draw an arrow and point to where we're seeing the rotation. That blue color on the map, that indicates where this storm is rotating, and that one is moving towards Hoytville and Macomb. So those are some areas that need to be on high alert as this storm cell pushes your way. Now, we haven't gotten any reports of damage just yet, even though this was an observed, confirmed tornado near Lipsick. No reports of damage just yet, just some dirt and debris that was being lofted in Paulding County earlier. I want to reset the stage, show you the broader picture. Right now, it is this supercell thunderstorm that has produced a number of tornado warnings that we're keeping a close eye upon. In terms of bigger picture storm reports, you know, most of the worst of the hail that occurred in northern Indiana, and we're, you know, thankfully we missed out on the biggest of the hail impacts, but this is the storm that really has our attention now. Now, for folks who live in the Toledo metro, who may be hearing the sirens off in the distance or wondering what is going on, you know, Lucas County, the vast majority of Lucas County is dry. Wood County, a very different story from what's going on up near Perrysburg versus further to the south in Wood County, right along that Wood and the Hancock County line where there's that tornado warning that is in effect. Folks in North Baltimore need to be taking preparedness. Signet need to be ahead of this storm in Hoytville. That rotation is headed in your direction. It does appear that the rotation now situated near to south of Belmore. That is where that storm is currently rotating right now.
Yeah, John, you're exactly right on where that rotation is, and it does look like it's confirmed. At least some mid-level rotation, and I'll highlight that in just a few moments, and as John highlighted, where that active threat is. So if you are across southern Michigan, yes, we have a few thunderstorms, nothing that is active with severe weather, and really, I'll be honest with you, here in the Toledo metro, I do not see an imminent risk of anything severe in the next few moments. So this is one cell down here that's in northeastern parts of Putnam County, southern Henry County, southern Wood County, northern Hancock County. So if you're hearing the sirens, multiple counties, we're getting reports of those outdoor warning sirens. Why we always say it's really difficult to discern what that tone means when you hear it, because for many areas, that is warning you of the storm that is well off in the distance. So a few things we're going to dive into here, where the active rotation is, and this has been, again, at one point, an observed tornado that has been seen. So we're going to continue that warning. That will go until 9:15. The last observation that we had was crossing northern parts of Putnam County in and around Continental out here towards State Route 15. We had reports of a lowering wall cloud and a funnel that was evident from the bottom of that cloud. So that was just about 15 minutes ago. And that crossed over State Route 108. So where is this right now? Extreme northeast corner of Putnam County. There's Lipsick and up toward Deschler. So we're in southern parts of Henry County. This is getting ready to make its movement now. And it will make its movement into northern Hancock County and southern Wood County is where it's going to be going next. So from Belmore to Deschler, you still need to be in your safe place. And again, we're going to be broadcasting through the duration of this tornado warning. Our radio partners down there in Findlay, WFIN, WKXA. We've got 4 counties under tornado warnings, which does include southern Henry County, northern Putnam County, southern Wood County, and northern Hancock County. So right now, the imminent threat is from Deschler to Belmore, more so in this area toward Belmore where we've noticed the rotation. But where is it going next? I gave Hoytville a shout out about 15 minutes ago. There it is showing up on the map. Hoytville to Macomb. Those are going to be the next 2 areas that see that more imminent threat. And there was a brand new scan that just came in, and that is approaching Hoytville and State Route 235. Here's Macomb. You're going to be on the southern edge of that threat, but I still suspect, though, with that distance that is closing in very quickly, that is a concern that I want you to be aware of, something that still may be a possibility. So what does this storm look like in 3D? It's always fascinating to be able to take these storms, really just slice through them, and kind of like a doctor does an X-ray or an MRI. Meteorologists are able to look into storms as well. And this one towered to about 30,000 feet. And I'll be honest, we saw storms that were packing a higher punch as far as the height into the atmosphere. Those are the ones that were producing the 2 to 3 inch hailstones over Indiana. This one, though, is really tapping into an area in the atmosphere that is exhibiting some stronger rotation. And that's what we're seeing with the velocity here. A couple areas is a little bit muddy, but what we're doing with radar here is we're able to indicate what direction are the winds actually twisting or turning in this. And it is a broad area is what I'll call it, from Deschler to Belmore. This is the location that I'm really looking at here where we've had more persistent rotation. So we've got winds that are going toward the radar, that green color, and winds down toward Belmore that are going away from the radar. So we call this a circulation in the atmosphere, or a mesocyclone. The mesocyclone is essentially where the tornado would form if there was one, or where it would be located. So we can highlight very clearly where we would see that bigger threat. It is from Deschler, really the south end of Deschler, over toward Belmore. This is going to be working into Hancock County and over to southern Wood County as we go through now the 9 o'clock hour. So we're going to widen the perspective out. If meteorologist Matt Willoughby could assist me with that. Let's reset kind of where we stand as we're just hitting 9 o'clock, and perhaps that you've now turned on the TV screen hoping to tune in to your favorite evening program. We are going to be in continuous tornado coverage here until the threat has passed. And what we have right now really is a couple counties under an active tornado warning. So here's the wider perspective. Nothing that is severe at this point across southern Michigan, and really nothing that's happening at all over toward Williams, Fulton County, into Defiance, and most of Henry County. It is the southern corner of Henry County that is under the active tornado warning. It's been fairly quiet most areas east of I-75 as well, as these storms, heads up now, are beginning to push to the east, and this one in particular across southern Wood County, northern Hancock County, is the strongest of the ones that we do have. So from Deschler, even up toward Custer, you're not actually in that active warning right now. The warning stops just south of Custer, so there's 281. 281 runs right into I-75. That tornado warning is south of 281, so if you know Wood County well, you know what I'm talking about. So 281 that runs from Custer into I-75 right around Jerry City, it is south of that. So included in this warning, it is going to be Macomb, it is going to be Hoytville, it is North Baltimore, Van Buren is right there in Van Buren State Park. We've got Bloomdale that extends all the way out east of I-75. Jerry City, you are in this area up towards Signet on I-75. Another location that is in the path of this potential tornado or area of rotation. We will continue to cover this. It is now 1 minute after 9 o'clock. This tornado warning will remain in effect for a bit longer, and we're going to be here through the duration. At one point or another, this was an observed tornado, and we would be doing the same courtesy for you if it was your county, highlighting where that tornado risk is the greatest. And at this point, Matt and John and meteorologist Kaylee Bowers here gathering all the data seems to be confined really to that Wood County, Hancock County line, headed toward Macomb, up toward Hoytville, those areas that are biggest risk. That tornado warning in effect until 9:15 for Hancock and Wood County. I do suspect, though, if we continue to gather the similar data that we've been seeing, that too may be extended as we go over the next 15 to 20 minutes.
Yeah, great update, Chris. And it is a very narrow corridor, but it still is posing a very imminent threat. We just got a report at about 8:58 from a trained storm spotter, so about 4 to 5 minutes ago, of a funnel cloud that occurred in northeastern Putnam County. In other words, this storm is still spinning. It is still rotating. And on this map here, I've superimposed some of the reports that we've seen over the last 30 to 60 minutes. Initially, there was a funnel cloud near Continental that confirmed a tornado touchdown near Lipsick. That is where I've drawn the tornado icon there. And in far northeastern Putnam County, that is where we continue to see this storm rotating. A trained storm spotter saw that funnel cloud in northeast Putnam County. So the threat is likely to continue into northern Hancock and southern Wood County as this supercell thunderstorm continues. I do want to show you another photo of the funnel turned tornado that we saw earlier. That was some hail in northern Indiana that occurred earlier this evening. But we are looking at that potential that is likely continuing with that report of a funnel cloud that occurred in northeastern Putnam. Now, folks in the Toledo Metro, no active warnings right now. It is a very narrow corridor, but that one thunderstorm has just produced a continuous threat over its path. I want to show you a loop of what's going on in the bigger picture over the last 2 to 3 hours. You'll notice that one supercell thunderstorm storm started off in northern Indiana, went into Paulding County, dropped a tornado, went into Putnam County, produced another tornado, and now is still producing a funnel cloud. So still clearly has that imminent tornado threat as it enters Wood and Hancock County. And due to the history of this cell, due to the multiple funnel and tornado reports over its life cycle, we encourage you to treat it very seriously for folks in the vicinity of North Baltimore, Deschler, who are under the impacts of this. Now it does look like we're getting some new data in as that warning flashes on and off the screen. I want to pop the query tool on there for folks who may be just tuning in. As of now, this is set to expire in 11 minutes, but it is very likely that this warning is expanded in the eastern trajectory. This dangerous storm is going to be near North Baltimore and Macomb at around 9:10 p.m. So North Baltimore and Macomb, 9:10 p.m., just 6 minutes away. That is when this tornado-warned storm is heading in your direction. And the latest information on the town of Van Buren. If you live in Van Buren or you have friends and family who live there, just a few minutes later at 9:15, or in other words, in about 11 minutes. This storm is still moving very, very quickly at about 50 to 55 miles per hour, it appears. So I do want to put a storm cone on this to help keep you ahead of the storm and to prepare for the potential impacts. So it's moving to the east-northeast at about 55. That rotation now located near Deschler, and you can pick out your spot on the map as it moves towards Macomb, North Baltimore, and Signet within the coming minutes and over the next 30 minutes or so. It does appear that this storm has picked up its trajectory a little bit, moving at about 50 to 55, but the National Weather Service has continued. Okay, they did update the motion on this. Moving east at about 35. So I'm going to update that storm cone there to get you the latest storm track on when it's going to arrive in your neck of the woods. But now it appears as if the movement is east at about 35 miles an hour versus about 50 to 55 what it was earlier. So we're putting that cone on there. Just a little bit of a later time, but we've been keeping you ahead of this storm. If you are anywhere in that pink polygon, this has a history of producing funnels and tornadoes. I want to go back to that storm reports graphic one last time. The latest report we got was in far northeastern Putnam County, where a funnel was reported by a trained storm spotter. Seeing anything of note on radar that's changed, Chris?
John, think about this, and we're just kind of being transparent about this. This enters into an area where it's difficult to gauge the lower level rotation that's occurring close to the ground, because what happens here is we've got Doppler radars all over the place. They're in Indiana, they're up in Detroit, they're Cleveland, they're south of us, but they scan the skies here, northwest Ohio, in this particular area between about 6,000 and 8,000 feet. So we're not actually capturing what's happening at the exact surface. So, which is why we're just going to really continue with this, and the National Weather Service as well agreeing with us and saying, hey, we've got an active tornado warning that is occurring right now. What I see is that circulation, at least where we're seeing it and sampling it in the atmosphere, it's fairly broad from about Hoytville down toward Macomb. So at this point, even though it's broad rotation, it's just not something that we're going to be able to accurately sample in this particular area, but it's right along 235. The north side of Macomb is where that rain really picks up, becomes heavier. There may be very well some inflow that's occurring in here. So what is occurring where we've got this little notch that's carved out, that's actually storm winds that are being ingested up into this thunderstorm. Think about it as the updraft that is being pulled up into that storm, and then the downdraft coming down on the backside of this, which is resulting in that rotating motion. So Hoytville to Macomb right along 235. This is going to be headed toward North Baltimore. Right here in North Baltimore, south side of town, we've got a Birch Run golf course. That is going to be next up. If that gives you a landmark, if you played 9 holes out there earlier this evening, that is coming right down 235. Within minutes, that is going to be working into North Baltimore. And this is going to be crossing I-75. So this is where it's going to come in as well. We're, again, simulcasting with our partners down in Findlay on WFIN and WKXA. So let me give you some really important landmarks here. If you are traveling now and you are approaching 613, this is Van Buren. You're going to see the signs for Van Buren State Park right here. Do not proceed north if you are going to be headed from I-75 north at this point. I'll repeat, do not proceed north. I want you to exit off, and I want you to find a safe place and shelter, because you are going to be headed into the potential rotation that is occurring along and north of 613. So, again, if you are on the roadways, we are simulcasting on our radio partners, WFIN, WKXA. We're heading northbound and approaching Van Buren. That is what I'm going to tell you. Hard pass on that. We don't want you proceeding north. Let's head over to Wood County as well. Matt, I want to highlight where the northern extent of this risk is because it's coming from right for North Baltimore. This does extend towards Signet. Here's Defiance Pike. So that is 281, and it's nice when roadways and road markers line up exactly with how we need to explain stuff. Right at Defiance Pike or 281, that is where the northern extent of that tornado warning is. So it really includes Signet, North Baltimore, Hoytville, and then if you're going to proceed east of I-75 over there toward Bloomdale, also included in that tornado warning. So I'm still getting reports, a little bit of a wider picture here too, Matt. I'm still getting reports of outdoor warning sirens that are firing up in Wood County across Bowling Green. You're getting rain, you're getting a storm, but we are not experiencing severe weather here in Bowling Green. It's just not happening right now. You are far removed from where that circulation is down in this area. I've had reports from Pemberville and Lucky up to Perrysburg that you're hearing outdoor warning sirens. I understand it's dark out. That can be jarring. That can be frightening. That is what we're here for, to explain what is going on. There's not a risk right now at this moment of any severe weather along and north of Route 6. Part of our job as well is not just to tell you where the danger is, but also to tell you, hey, you're in the clear, or when you're in the clear. And I promise that is what we are here to do. We want to be that trusted source of reassuring and confident information. So again, Wood County, if you're hearing those outdoor warning sirens and you're Bowling Green and north, we don't have a risk at this point. But if you're Jerry City, Signet, down to North Baltimore, down into northern Hancock counties, this is an area that is an active tornado warning. The circulation out in this area, out toward Macomb and Hoytville. And again, it's a very difficult area for us to sample the lowest layer of the atmosphere where that rotation could be occurring. We can only tell you that at one point earlier this evening, there was an observed tornado associated with this exact cell. And one great feature, and I'll task meteorologist John Birchfield with this one in a few moments, he showed some tremendous information about the rotation track all across Indiana and into northwest Ohio of this. So John's going to get that going, and he'll be able to share that with you in a few moments. But the current threat right now is from Hoytville to Macomb, where we've got that rotation. It is headed to Van Buren, North Baltimore, and Signet next. I do want to drop down before we send it back over to John, and let's head toward Findlay, because Findlay was in that tornado warning. Do you remember? No longer in that tornado warning. So if you are listening to us in Findlay and you are in your safe spot, we expect this storm is going to pass north of you. So just a few miles north of you. Now perhaps the distance between Findlay and Van Buren, which give or take, about 8 miles or so is that distance on I-75. We expect that tornado warning really cuts off around Van Buren or just south of Van Buren. So Findlay, you are not in this tornado warning. Initially, you were included in that, but we've got a little better gauge not only on the storm speed, the motion, but also the direction of where it's going. And this is ultimately going to go just north of Findlay. So from about Van Buren, here again is State Route 613, Van Buren State Park, just east of I-75, right there. That extends up to North Baltimore. This is the area, really particular area that I'm most concerned about the rotation. From Macomb to Van Buren to North Baltimore, it's this specific area, back over toward Hoytville as well. We've got the CSX rail yards in this area. That is something that we'll have a close eye on, as we can be very specific, down to street level, essentially where that potential risk is and where the tornado may be continuing to track. 9:12 is the time. Last I checked, this tornado warning was in effect until 9:15, so I suspect is what's going to happen is, folks, we're probably going to have some additional updates on this and where we go from there. Let's send it over to meteorologist John Birchfield. John, give us a little perspective on what's been occurring just over the past hour or so.
Yeah, Chris, radar really confirms what we're getting from storm spotters as well. We talked about it earlier, how Putnam County was seeing a funnel cloud that was lowering from the clouds. Additionally, in Henry County, we got a trained storm spotter that reported a funnel in Henry County. Now, Chris mentioned the shear tracks or the rotation tracks of this storm cell. This is what we call a supercell thunderstorm. In other words, it is continually rotating as it moves to the east. And this shows you the rotation tracks over the last couple of hours. Now I want to show you a sped up radar loop of this one isolated thunderstorm that is evidently spinning. I sped it up a little bit to show you that trajectory from the 469 corridor through Paulding County, Putnam County, and now into Wood and Hancock counties. That one thunderstorm has continued to exhibit rotation, and the latest report from the Train Storm Spotter did show a funnel cloud that was reported in Henry County, so it does appear that that rotation is now pushing off into Henry County. Now if we zoom in on this rotation tracks feature, it does appear that folks to the west of North Baltimore are seeing the biggest threat of this storm right now. It has produced a funnel within the last 10 to 15 minutes, and that is a precursor to a tornado. We don't know for sure if there's a tornado on the ground right now, but anyone in this pink polygon needs to treat this tornado warning with respect, as this thunderstorm has a history of producing a number of tornadoes as well as funnel clouds over the last several hours. Folks in North Baltimore, Signet, Bloomdale, all under the impacts of that tornado warning, and we are seeing those rotation tracks or the spinning with that storm moving in your direction as well. And I want to show you where this supercell started. This was originally in Oakwood, Ohio, about an hour ago in Paulding County. W.D. Miller reported that one, and our storm reports are now ingesting into the system. There was reports of a tornado with visible soil lofted. This occurred along Highway 613 west of Oakwood. So not only was it a tornado, but it was lifting debris at one point or another. And of course, this is while it was light outside. The time is now 9:14, and with the rain that is occurring, if there is a tornado, it's likely wrapped in rain, and it's much more difficult, much more dangerous due to the time of day. We are now well past sunset. This occurred before sunset in Oakwood, Ohio, where it originally occurred. And again, that rotation tracks feature on radar, always good to see where this is headed and where it has been. And along this track, it has produced a number of funnel clouds, as well as at least 1 to 2 touchdowns likely within that trajectory. Now, it looks like we will have some new information. You will notice that pink polygon no longer evident on there, but I am expecting that the National Weather Service will very likely issue another tornado warning. So we're keeping a very close eye on that to see if there is an extension from the Cleveland National Weather Service office. As of 9:14, they did say that the tornado warning for Hancock and Wood County was expired. However, we could potentially see an extension. Chris, are you seeing any information on that?
Well, at that moment, while you're doing that coverage, to kind of analyze the atmosphere that this supercell is going into, and I would be surprised if this was one of the last tornado warnings that we covered tonight. Reason why is this storm cell that has been showing or exhibiting rotation, it is entering into a portion of the atmosphere where it still has storm energy, it still has a wind shear, it still has all the ingredients that still could make this a tornado. So we're going to stick with you until we are confident that we are not going to see an extension to that coming up in the next few moments. As I mentioned before, this is a very difficult area to sample on Doppler radar. That's just the way it is. We scan at a little bit of a higher level in the atmosphere, and we did indicate that circulation was somewhere right around or south of Jerry City, back over toward Macomb. Now, I do believe we've had some pictures that have come into the newsroom as well of a funnel cloud in and around Macomb. So I want you to take a look at this. Let's look very close. So a couple things that we may be seeing. It's difficult to tell. Now, we cannot confirm that this is a funnel cloud. There are sometimes little indications that this could be what's called scud, which is just rising air up into the atmosphere that is ingested into a thunderstorm. So I'll be honest with you, I'm not quite ready. If we actually if we could put that up right behind you as well, I could explain what's going on. If we could tap that onto the green screen, that would be fantastic. That is going to be something that may not essentially be a tornado. So this could just be rising air up into the thunderstorm that actually creates it. You notice how it's kind of jagged there? I'd have to see it in actual motion. I would be a little suspect if this was a funnel cloud. It may be scud, or what we loosely call a scary looking cloud. It's just kind of this rising air up into the atmosphere. Either way, this could be the outer edge of one of those stronger storms. All right, good to always see that because it gives us information on what may be going on the ground. I'm not willing to call that a funnel cloud, as that very well could end up just being rising air up into the thunderstorm. Back over to Doppler radar. Appreciate the hard crew working hard in the back to get that stuff up into the area. Now, I-75 is where we've got that active thunderstorm. Now, at this point, I'm going to confirm here with meteorologist Kaylee Bowers, they do not intend, at least at this moment, to extend this tornado warning. So we've seen that expire at 9:15, so we're just going to stick with you a little bit longer until we know that threat has actually passed across the region. If we can widen this picture out, I want to show that we don't have any active severe alerts at this point. So across southern Michigan, we believe that that threat is essentially passed. Most areas west of I-75 as well. We believe that that threat has passed. Now, a few spots east of I-75, we still have a few more hours of an active tornado watch, and as these storms are still long and moving east of I-75.
We made it in a
Clusters of storms. We've had numerous warnings.
Awesome.
A new warning, Monroe.
Awesome.
No, what's curious is new tornado watch is now including Huron County. So hey, at least from what I'm reading, okay. Obviously Cleveland, so not Erie County, but Huron County apparently.
Okay, so we're gonna fill in some of the eastern parts. Maybe it's for the cell they're watching right here. I don't think they're convinced, like we're not convinced that we're completely in the clear with that. It may have weakened for now, but think about that. If that track's due east, where does it take it? Right to Huron County. So Erie County folks, keep weather aware for the next few hours. But yes, that would make sense. Cleveland expand the tornado watch, meaning conditions are favorable or watching the weather, pretty much because of that cell that's had a history of rotation, history of funnel clouds, history of tornadoes, with active back in Paulding County and parts of Indiana. So that makes sense. We'll see if this fills in momentarily, but even more intense weather just to our south here, and there it is. All right, Dan, thanks for the heads up. So you can see behind the green, you've got some ground clutter over there, but indeed, new watch issued for much of Cleveland's area. That does include Huron County, but any time frame on that, guys? Huron County?
Huron County, I'm going to assume, I'm not going to assume, let's go ahead and look at it. So we're going to...
Dan, just in the meantime, sorry, while you're finding that one, golf ball sized hail reported in Hillsdale County. So that report just coming in. This was from a little bit ago. 1.7 and 1 3/4 inches. That was reported at 7:43.
7:43. Really golf ball size hail. Okay, if we could, while we're waiting there, can we zoom out? I want to show the extent of this storm system today.
It's vast.
I mean, it goes really, if we turn the radar to the now red, which includes much of the area, till 4 a.m.
4 a.m.
All right, it's not going to go to 4 a.m. for us.
No.
It'll be like 11 o'clock, if that, with that cell moving across I-75 right now. So
actually,
4 a.m. includes watch the pop up.
Another new tornado.
Wait for it. There, you see it?
We'll pause it at the end.
Yeah, so 4 a.m. we're expecting these storms to be probably across the Ohio River at that point. So again, as they cancel from west to east, we'll just say that that watch probably till 11 o'clock, maybe midnight for Huron County, but that's for that one cell. But look at this. Look at the lightning north of Cincinnati, Dayton area, west of Columbus. They too have the chance for that rotation. Even more north of Chicago. They got hit earlier today with this band up in Milwaukee. They've got all kinds of warnings. So it's not just in the warm sector of this. Perhaps some upper energy air and some extra spin up there in parts of Wisconsin affecting that. So for us, right now it's just a watch. All warnings have been allowed to expire at this point. We're going to wait a few more minutes before we go back to programming just to make sure as we examine that cell. Anybody seen anything special with that cell in North Baltimore?
I'm still seeing some broader rotation with it, Jay, but nothing that's incredibly tight, incredibly bright. Nothing that I would put a tornado warning there for, but there's still rotation. And what we've seen over the last few hours is that all it takes is a matter of minutes.
Oklahoma. Says that
It doesn't mean that I'm collaborating with the enemy. Whose side are you actually on? The victims.
We were lucky and did not get hit.
This storm, on the backside of this, maybe a few isolated thunder showers behind this, but this is your severe threat, and you're going to be seeing us roll through in the next 30 minutes.
Okay, all right, we're going to give it about 3 more seconds. We're going to wrap things up here, unless anybody else has seen anything dangerous on the radars. We have no active warnings. We're going to watch until 11 o'clock officially. For Huron County, the watch goes until 4 a.m. We're thinking more like 11 o'clock here for Huron County. Much longer time frame east of us, outside of our viewing area for that watch. But we've been on the air since just after the 6 o'clock news tonight. Great job, team. Behind the scenes, folks, thank you for staying with us and They push the buttons, they keep the mics good, they keep us looking good, and information from the news department. The updates on the sirens being heard. Dan, of course, was on Facebook Live saying there's reports of sirens going off. So a real team effort here at 13 Action News to keep you informed and work with yourselves ahead of the storm and giving you the first alert. So right now, a watch, a tornado watch until 11 p.m. officially. The most concerned cell we have is just north of Finley, near North Larson, we're moving to the east. So folks, in Sandusky County, Seneca County, stay weather aware. We'll keep the call up, we'll keep information coming, and hop back on the air if we need to.
Yes, we'll be watching the rest of this evening, just in case.
All right, team's here for you. Stay safe, stay weather aware. We'll be here all night for you. Stay with 13 Action News for weather updates. Now let's head back to regular programming.
This has been a special report from the 13 ABC First Alert Weather Team. Stay with 13 ABC on air and online for updates.